Cliff Jumper. Commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now, ToyCast with your hosts, TFG1 Mike and Pecan Court Michael.
Hello and welcome to ToyCast. This is episode 86. I am one of your hosts, TFG1 Mike, and joining me is Pecan Court Michael. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Not bad. Can't complain.
Awesome.
I could complain, but
It wouldn't help.
I wouldn't help. I'm not going to bother. Nobody's listening.
Yeah. Well, hey. Come on now.
Well, to me, that didn't come out right. I'm sorry. Let's do this again.
Wait. Nobody's listening to this podcast? Lovely. Great. You fucker.
Exactly.
So what have you been up to in the new year so far?
All sorts of neat things. I actually set myself and the boys up in karate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did that like 10 years ago. I went to a local dojo, and I was there for about a year, and it was nice. I gained a lot there, and I always wanted to go back. I never did, but now that the boys are old enough, we wanted to put them in there. And
5 and 3 are old enough.
Well, they start at 3, and
okay.
it's not so much for self-defense at 3 years old. It's more for getting them to pay attention and follow directions.
Yeah, teaching them discipline.
Yeah, so it's self-control. When I think of discipline, it's like over my knee.
No,
but no, it's
well, yeah, self-control, but it's also teaching people and children about discipline as well. I mean, it's setting a good example.
Right, self-discipline. Right.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Well, at that age, now when you get into 5, 6, 7 years old, that's when they start doing punching, kicking, blocking, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But at 3 years old, it's more about, can you follow directions? Can you control yourself? And honestly, Gavin needs a little of that. And,
oh, poor Gavin.
No, well, he's headstrong. He really is. And, if he decides he doesn't want to do something, he's just going to put his foot down and be like, no. And this can be something as simple as put on your coat. No. I don't want to. No. Well, you want to go outside? Yeah. Well, you're going to got to put on your coat. No. It's like, all right, look, kid. It's going to make this real simple for you. But it gets old real quick as a parent. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, this wouldn't hurt him at all to get him to follow directions a little more reliably. And Aiden is at a point now where he's, I don't want to say afraid of the dark, but let's say wary of dark places.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it wouldn't hurt to give him a little self-confidence too.
Exactly.
Because nothing builds self-confidence better than knowing that you could whoop the ass of whatever's in the dark waiting for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it helped me.
Right.
Well, it's more, again, it's self-confidence. It started off as, I need to get healthy and I don't really like sports, and this is something I've always wanted to do. But yeah, I want to get the boys involved.
Yes, and ToyCast is on a roaring return. We have recorded and released episode 85. We recorded the special episode, which people would have already heard by now, of the Art of Toy Company Hate, which is mainly directed at Mattel, because of shit that they put me through.
Hater.
And Damn those loincloth action figures.
Is that a loincloth? I always thought that was like woolly mammoth butt wrapped around your girdle
Well, if you
region.
look at Dora, she has a heart-shaped butt. But anyway, so now we're moving on to, in this episode, we're going to be talking mainly about the 1986 line of Autobots and Decepticons that coincided with Transformers the movie. We haven't done Transformers talk in a long time here on ToyCast. I think the last episode we did Transformers talk was maybe 75. I think that's when we did one of the last Rodcasts at the time.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe the last time I was on, because that's all I do.
Well, that's the only collection your wife allows you to have, other than one Phineas and Ferb toy that I had her get you.
Thank you for that.
Yes, you're welcome. So we're going to take a break. You're going to hear a quick audio clip, and we'll be back with the 1986 line of Transformers Generation 1 toys.
And more Autobots join Optimus Prime. Cup
Reminds me of the battle on Beta 4.
Hot Rod.
Watch my smoke.
Blur.
Baby. Now you don't.
And these are the new Decepticons, the evil Cyclonus.
I'm spoiling for a fight.
And Scourge.
No one escapes the sweet.
But soon a new Autobot leader will arrive, introducing Rodimus Prime. No one can take on the Decepticons like Rodimus Prime.
Transformers.
The Transformers, each sold separately from Hasbro.
Guns, look, the aerial bots. Only the aerial bots have this kind of teamwork.
Aerial bots wage their battle to destroy the evil force below. The Decepticons, the Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers.
Nobody can stop Minotaur. That's Superior.
The Transformers, sold separately from Hasbro.
Autobots, this is our new city Metroplex. It can transform into a battle station and then transform again into the gigantic Metroplex himself.
But the Combaticons can combine to form Bruticus.
Decepticons attack. Transform Metroplex.
The Transformers.
The Transformers from Hasbro.
Ultra Magnus.
The courageous Ultra Magnus is a born leader. We meet at last, Galvatron.
And it will be the last time we meet.
And Galvatron is Ultra Magnus' sworn enemy.
Transformers.
Galvatron transforms from laser cannon to fighting robot.
And Ultra Magnus from huge car carrier to Autobot commander.
The Transformers. More than meets the eye.
The Transformers, each sold separately from Hasbro.
So we are back, and we are going to be talking about G1 toys. As I found out during the break, it wasn't since episode 75. The last episode we talked about Transformers was actually episode 84 with Spada and myself. The main purpose of this, so everybody's in on my numbering scheme and joke and theme scheme, is this is episode 86. Transformers the movie came out in 1986. So we're mainly going to focus on the 86 catalog. We will then go into, if we want to talk about the 85 catalog or the 87 catalog, we'll do that as well.
We're not gonna talk about the 1986 GI Joe line, right?
What, fully articulated army men? No.
See, because the Cobra Bat is like my favorite action figure of all time, and he came out in 1986.
Oh, does he transform?
Only his arm.
Wait, it transforms up and down, doesn't it?
He has a special arm. No, he's actually got a backpack full of arms, and he just replaces
Multiple
them.
stroking arms. Oh, lovely.
Some of them you wouldn't want to stroke with.
Okay.
He's got like a saw blade or something. I think you'd damage your crotch with that one.
Wow, you're really into the dick and fart jokes tonight, aren't you?
Well, no, it's a Cobra Bat. How bad could you go with a Cobra? It was a Battle Android Trooper, freaking Battle Android Trooper figure. I don't see how you ended up with masturbation from that. I'm sorry. Sorry I brought it up. Serpentor came out that year too. He's cool. So, Transformers. Yeah.
Yeah, Transformers. This is not a G.I. Joe podcast. This is not what's on Joe's mind. This is what's on Megatron's mind. Trying to see if this catalog has the... Oh, yeah, it does. It's over there. Okay. All right, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to start with the Autobots and then move on to the Decepticons in the 86 line. And Michael, as well as Proto Man, has supplied us with images of the 86 catalog and some other stuff. So we're going to start with the Autobots. Well, I guess we talk about the biggest city bot in the room, Metroplex.
I actually had a Metroplex when I was little. I was excited. I got one for my birthday.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool. And, the cool part about Metroplex isn't so much that he's a really big robot, because he's really big for the time.
Yeah.
But the fact that, he becomes a city.
Yeah. That's the cool part is the city mode.
Yeah, and the sad thing is he's got a helipad, and I never had a helicopter.
Oh.
I know. I didn't have blades as a kid, and I was really wanting one so I could land him on the helipad. But everything else was very cool about him. I mean, he's got a city mode. He's got an armored city mode, which is basically... for me,
rolling vehicle, yeah.
Well, no, the rolling vehicle was kind of lame, to be honest. For me, the city mode, the armored city mode was like the city mode with guns on it.
Oh, okay.
So all the guns from like the there's a separate figure. I want to say his name wasn't Six Shot. It was like Six Armor or something, Six Gun. But yeah, basically, you take the 6 guns and you put them together, and he's got guns for arms and guns for legs and guns for a head and guns on his back, but you take them apart, and then you can put the guns on Metroplex's arms or wherever you want. But in city mode, they can also plug into the sides of the buildings and on top of the little buildings and such.
Right.
I want to say the canopies that become the knee covers.
Yeah.
You can plug the guns in there. But yeah, I mean, that's really cool to have this big city with guns and stuff sticking out of it. The rolling, basically the rolling armored complex.
Yeah, the Metroplex APC version.
Yeah, well, it's sad because it looks like Metroplex, except, Metroplex sitting down.
Yeah.
With his head tucked in. And it's like, oh, you happen to have wheels under there. That's kind of neat. Yeah.
His head's tucked into his ass.
Well, it's tucked into his chest, but yeah, I mean,
right.
And and you put the guns where they're supposed to go. Plug the guns into his arms, plug the guns into his legs, and there you go. Now, the cool thing about Metroplex that I didn't know until I was much older is that, this is a Japanese thing. So if you're not familiar with the Japanese toy line, this is going to be a shocker for you. But in the Japanese toy line called Scramble City, Metroplex had a documented feature in the instruction booklets that let's say if you have Superion, right? Or the Protectobots, and normally you've got one main figure like a hotspot for the Protectobots, and then all the other figures plug into his arms and legs.
Right.
Well, you can take those same figures using the same attachment joint, which is usually their head, and it will attach to the arms and legs of Metroplex.
Right, yeah.
Well, for me, that blew my mind. I had no idea. If I had known when I was little that, if I had blades, I could, plug him into the side of Metroplex's arm. That would have been huge for me.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
That would have been amazing. Also, what they don't tell you in America, and they only tell you in Japan, is that Hotspot and Silverbolt on the Aerialbot side, they have base modes. So you can transform them into a base mode, and then that attaches to the garages on Metroplex.
Cool.
Yeah, so the limbs attach, and then the body transforms into a little mini base. So you could actually make your Metroplex bigger.
Yeah. Now this is all because of, in Japan at the time, they went from season 2 to Scramble City because they didn't get TFTM until like 1987, 88. So like they didn't get it till like a year and a half later. It came out here in the States in 86, and then 86 went, it went from season 2 to the movie and then season 3, whereas in Japan it went from season 2, Scramble City, the movie, then they went on to do Headmasters and Victory and Master, all that Japanese stuff.
Yeah, well, I think they got the movie at some point, but...
Yeah, they got it like a year later in 87.
Yeah, but no, there's a whole separate, Japanese continuity that Scramble City's a part of, but the cool thing about, Scramble City was that there's all these features for Metroplex and for Trypticon, right, we'll talk about later, that we just didn't know about. We had no idea. They didn't include these in the box art. They didn't include them in the instruction sheets. And, let's face it, none of us knew what was going on in Japan at the time. Unless you're like Japanese, in which case,
Yes.
Anyway, so suffice to say, no, this is a really cool toy. And it could be that much cooler if we had known at the time.
Yeah. For me, I don't count. I'm actually going left to right on these catalog images, and I will put both of the catalog images for 86, the Autobots and the Decepticons, in the post so people can see the image. I'm going left to right, but as far as the team bots, as far as the toys go, I only ever wanted Devastator. I never wanted, I wanted the aerial bots and all the other teams for their individual Transformer robot modes. I didn't want them to build Superion or Computron or...
Oh, really?
Whatever. I like the individual robots more as far as the toys go. In the animation, I loved both. I love the individual robots, and I also love the combiners. But as far as the toys go, the only two big robots I ever really wanted as a kid was Devastator and Omega Supreme.
Okay.
Basically, so I can reenact, the secret of Omega Supreme.
Okay. See, now for me, well, Devastator's an 85 toy, and I got the toy in 85. It was one of the few Transformers I got that year. I got the gift set, so that was exciting. But I was so excited about combiners that, when I found out there were more combiners coming out the next year, I completely lost it.
Yeah, see, for me, I loved it in the cartoon.
Right.
The toys, for me, I think that's great that they put out more, and that's all well and good. But as I just said, not to keep repeating myself, I just preferred the individual Transformers to the combined modes, other than Devastator. Now, moving left to right, we're going to talk about the 3 Autobot car seekers, I guess you could say, which is Blur, Hot Rod, and Cup. I think the only I never had a G1 Blur, never.
Okay.
I had Hot Rod and Cup.
Okay. So, right about here is where Transformers started, losing it for me because.
Oh.
Well, honestly, in 1984, 1985, all the cars were cars that you would normally, see on the street and play with. I mean, it goes back to the Diaclone days. I mean, granted, these aren't cars that you'd see in 84. They're more like cars you'd see in 78, right?
Yeah.
But they were cars. And now we've got this thing that looks like it might be a surfboard. Might not be, Cup. Is he a pickup? I don't know.
He's El Camino.
He's not, I don't know what the hell he is. I mean, from the cartoon, I assume he's a pickup truck. But from here, it doesn't look like he doesn't look like he's anything. I don't know. Is that a sled? Was it Rosebud? I don't know.
Nosebud.
Rosebud. But no, Hot Rod is cool. I mean, he's got flames and tailpipes, and yeah, he's kind of cool. But he looks like a futuristic Hot Wheel car. He doesn't look like an Autobot for me. I mean, that's just the way I saw it. I don't know. I had no interest in these whatsoever. I mean, even as a little kid, you could tell the transformations were so ridiculously simple that it just wasn't
But see,
wasn't
that's
a draw for
that
me.
was the point though, because you had more complex stuff like in '85, you had the Insecticons, you had the Constru. I mean, the Constructicons are kind of simple, but obviously having to put together Devastator, that might have been a little hard for some kids in '85. But I mean, that's kind of the point of the '86 line, where you have these not micro cars like Bumblebee. Like that was my biggest issue with G1 back in the day as a kid. Bumblebee was the size of my index finger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
are small, but
yeah.
it's Bumblebee. Let's not talk about the mini bots so much.
Yeah, let's
But the
not. I mean,
regular
yeah,
the
go
regular
ahead.
cars. I mean, if you've
Yeah,
ever played with like a Ratchet,
yeah,
that takes a little bit of imagination.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but any of the other cars, you really have to know what you're doing to a certain extent. Because
yeah.
some of these aren't easy to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. Next in the line to the right of the image is the bird dinosaur shitting ship out of my shuttle shit. Skylinks
Guns. He's shitting guns.
shitting guns out of his
He
ship.
lands, he
Yes,
shits out the
Skylinks.
guns, he flies away. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, "Have a revolution, my friends. Take down the government." So this is a terrorist shuttle. That's what he is. I don't even know where this came from. I mean, I'm assuming some guy at Hasbro said, "Wouldn't it be cool if we had a space shuttle that turned into a pterodactyl?"
Yeah, and what is his other mode? Like I never understood his quote unquote beast mode, his where it's not the shuttle part.
Well, see, that's the weird thing is you've got a shuttle, and then he's kind of got that. It's
Like a lion or a
no. Well, the thing underneath it in vehicle mode is supposed. I don't know if that's supposed to be like his rocket boosters, or if that's supposed to be like a shuttle crawler, because I don't think it has actual wheels.
he
But
said shuttle crawler, and the first thing I went to is the at.
yeah, well, it's when the legs come out, then it's an AT-AT.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing though is, it's like there's a pterodactyl, and then he turns into a pterodactyl sitting on top of a cat,
Yeah.
and then he becomes a pterodactyl and a cat. And I don't know. It's neat because I want to say he actually walks. He's
He does.
motorized, so
Yeah.
the cat part will actually walk.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. But yeah, the gestalt of the matter, for lack of a better term, I just don't like it. What would be cool? You've got an awful lot of space here on this toy. I mean, you could have done something neat like an opening bay door, or a little space shuttle, or not space, but like a little satellite inside the space shuttle,
Yeah.
or something would have been neat. But it's all of three colors. It looks to me like it's cheap plastic. Even when I was little, I was like, "This is cheap plastic."
It's actually four colors: red, blue, yellow, and white.
Red, blue, yellow. Oh,
Because of the yellow part of his visor on the shuttle and the windows.
no, that's a sticker,
Well, it's still a color though.
dude. It's three colors of plastic, and the rest is a sticker.
Okay.
If your face is a sticker, it doesn't count.
Hey, leave TFA Motormaster alone.
So yeah, there's that. But no, I had no interest in getting this toy. I bought him like a couple years ago on eBay because I got a good deal on one mitten box.
Yeah.
But that was the only reason I got one. That was about the same year that the Japanese reissue came out, and everyone was buying those up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, why are you paying $70 for this thing when you can get a real one in a box for like 50?
Yeah.
It was shocking. I didn't see the draw.
Yeah. Next to him is two that I can't even make out. The helicopter and the car there, above the Protectobots, deluxe
Yeah.
vehicles.
Whirl and Roadbuster.
Oh, Whirl and Roadbuster. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are kind of cool.
Well, see, the cool thing about the Whirl and the Roadbuster is that they came from a Japanese series called, I'm going to mispronounce this, but Mos Pieta. Mospaeda. It's a really cool series. But this particular car, has a driver in this other series. And here he does. That's why there's a little driver's seat.
Yeah.
And there's all these driver-sized guns on him, and he comes with all these. He comes with a lot of accessories, like more accessories than most Transformer toys come with, and a lot of little ones that are very easy to get lost. There's probably a bunch of them floating around in toy boxes from the 80s.
Yeah.
And also on the secondary market, if you're buying one on eBay, it's hard to find one complete.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got this gun that you can put little missiles in.
Yeah.
I don't think it actually shoots, but then the missiles get lost, and the gun usually gets lost or broken. But he's also got a little antenna that sits just behind the driver's seat,
Right.
and that's always getting broken.
Oh.
Yeah. But this is a
lot
really
of the
cool
G1 stuff kind of broke a lot of times, which is kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's fragile stuff, but especially with the cars, because the hoods were attached to the head.
Yeah.
The head would bust off, or the hood would bust off, and they're fragile. But this one is not a fragile toy. There's metal parts to it, but he's got a very complex transformation. When we were talking about toys that were hard to transform, this guy, if you know how to do it, it's awesome. If you don't, you're going to be like, ugh. And to a certain extent, Jetfire's like that too.
Yeah.
Where, if you play with it, you might get it, but, he's complex. He's not meant for really little kids like the Minibots were. And Whirl, I like Whirl as a blue helicopter. Again, didn't have a helicopter, really wanted one. And Whirl was kind of neat. I couldn't get over the fact that he's on skis.
His robot, like you just said, you like the helicopter.
Yeah.
And see, this is the thing. Like, sometimes, and this goes for any Transformer, it doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes I'm really drawn to the robot mode, and I could, I like the vehicle mode, but I just, at the same time, I would rather have them in robot mode. And there are other times where I prefer the vehicle mode over the robot mode, and I would rather have him in vehicle mode. And Whirl is probably one of those where I would want him for the fact that he's a helicopter. And I could care less about the robot mode, him being on skis.
Right. Well, the vehicle mode is a little the vehicle mode is cool. He looks, to me, I want to say like Airwolf or something. But, well, my memory of Airwolf was a little lacking. But no, I thought he looked really like a really
now,
cool helicopter.
now that I'm looking at him close up, if he was painted all black, I could kind of see the Airwolf bit, yeah.
Yeah. But the robot mode, it's fragile, I want to say.
Best.
His legs are like two long sticks that end in skis. His arms, there's no articulation there at all. His shoulders are really loose and floppy. It's hard. You can't really pose him, and he doesn't have hands, so his guns just kind of mount on his wrists.
Yeah.
And, and the guns honestly look cooler hanging off of his wings, or the gun pods, I should say, in helicopter mode.
Yeah.
But no, he's cool. And the only other thing I can think about these guys, besides the fact that they're really neat toys, is that they have the clear stickers, like the Deluxe Insecticons, which a lot of them did not make it to this day.
Yes. We have also two combiners that we're going to talk about before we move back to the left of the next line of the picture here. We got the aerial bots who form Superion, and we have the Protectobots who form Defensor. The aerial bots, I always loved these guys. I believe the only aerial bot toy I ever had was Silverbolt, because at the time, Silverbolt was a shell former back in the day. It was the only one my mom could find. We never found Air Raid, Skydive, Fireflight, or Slingshot. So I never actually got to combine and form Superion, but I always just loved Silverbolt. I don't know why. I just always have.
Was it from the cartoon?
Probably, but I always loved the toy as well because again, like I never had like here's the way my childhood went. I had so many Transformers, but I had way more He-Man figures. My mom to this day says that she got me an Optimus Prime. I don't remember having G1 Optimus. If I did, he was very heavily played with and probably ended up having to go in the trash because he broke so many times. I remember having Power Master Optimus Prime, but I don't remember having the G1 84 Optimus as a kid. So my Transformers, I think I had Laserbeak, but I didn't have Soundwave. I had a G1 Megatron, which on Twitter is like, "You've never transformed a G1 Megatron, bitch." Yes, I have.
I still have to dig mine out of the closet and play with it. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. So no, I had Silverbolt, I had Blitzwing, I had Astro Train. Astro Train was probably my favorite out of all the ones I had. Probably because he was purple, and purple and black are my favorite colors. But anyway, no, Silverbolt just really spoke to me. I love the toy, and I love the figure. I love the character in the animation as well. What about you on the aerial bots?
Well, I didn't have any of them as a kid. I wanted all the combiners because I was
You're a
freaky
combiner freak. Yeah.
I was freaky for combiners. But later on, when I would actually pick them up, this is kind of the weakest of the combiners. The problem is that his legs are really spindly,
Yeah.
and he does not stand up very well. It almost makes me wish that they had put a little more kibble on Silverbolt to make those legs more substantial.
Right.
But he's very quick to fall over.
Yeah.
But again, he makes a very cool toy.
Oh yes.
He makes a very cool toy, and you see a lot of Superion knockoffs.
You see a lot of Superion knockoffs, and you see a lot of Superion add-on accessories as well. I think the add-on accessories are more so for the knockoffs. I don't remember if they're actually for the G1 Superion, but I've seen a few where they've done Superion add-on set where it's Superion G1 accurate head or something or other, like G1 cartoon accurate head. But yeah, I mean,
there's a third-party company called Crazy Devi that does
tons of stuff.
Yeah, they do attachment kits, so they'll have like a new head for Superion that'll light up, or that'll allow him to turn his head back and forth, or they'll have elbow joints for these guys because their arms are really stubby.
Yeah,
there are in some cases their legs. I mean, Superion's got longer legs, but they're flimsy.
Yeah.
But their arms are really stubby. They look like their arms end in their elbows. But Crazy Devi will make an attachment that will give them forearms. Things like that. Then it's neat. Is it necessary? Not if you're, a purist, right? Is it expensive? Yes. You're gonna pay $20 for a forearm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I need a forearm that badly.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll have different feet or different knees, or it's like I don't really think I need it that badly.
Yeah.
But I really liked Defensor.
Yep, made up of the Protector bots, Streetwise, Groove, First Aid, Blades, and Hotspot. I never had this, so this is going to be all you. I remember them from the cartoon, and I remember loving them from the cartoon, but I never actually had the toy.
I did not have the toy as a kid either, but I eventually got it.
You have it now.
I have most of these, yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing, again, about getting these guys in the aftermarket is that if you look at Hotspot, how much detail he has on his chest and his torso, that's all stickers.
Yeah.
He's got all these lights and what is that, the caution tape or emergency tape or whatever. Those are all stickers. And for the longest time, could not find a Hotspot with stickers. It took me years to track one down. And I finally got one, and I was so happy because my Defensor finally looked decent.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, you've got a motorcycle here, you got a helicopter. I mean, stuff that you don't normally see in the Autobot lineup.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, by then they were, at least as far as the cartoon goes, they were expanding to different vehicles. Because, after More Than Meets the Eye 3-parter, it's like, hey, the first episode the Autobots can fly. Let's shoot them down, and then they can't fly again. And then they went on, as the cartoon here in the U.S. went on, they eventually, had helicopter bots and jet bots and Power Glide and all that stuff. So, I mean...
Power Glide.
Yeah,
Well, that was the whole point of getting the Superion in there.
Yeah.
Because, not just to have a combiner to go toe-to-toe with Menasor, but also you'd have flying Autobots.
Flying Autobots, yeah.
Besides Skylinks, because he's annoying as hell.
Yes. So going all the way back over to the second down here, on the left we have the Autobot Air Guardian Jetfire. Now this was originally a Macross jet, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, this guy, I want to say he came out in 85?
Yeah,
he was an 85 toy. The Deluxe were 85 toys. Dinobots are 85 toys.
Yeah. There are some on the 86 catalog where the 85 toys carried over, so we will be talking about them because they are on these images. Oh. But, I mean, we don't have to spend a lot of time on Jetfire unless you absolutely want to spend a lot of time on him, so, I mean...
Well, the coolest thing about Jetfire is the fact that, he was a Macross toy.
Yeah.
And, it's like if you're a Transformers fan only, then this is the only, this is the only Macross toy you're going to be familiar with. Yep. But if you are a Macross fan, which, I'm not so much. I follow the toys, see what they got. But if you go to, like, Big Bag Toy Store and you look at their Macross toys, they have, it's not just one plane. They've got a whole line of planes, and these are like the older ones, and the newer ones are sleeker and prettier and have more articulation and bombs, like huge attachment wing attachments for just bombs and bombs and bombs and more guns, and it's ridiculous what some of these toys look like.
Yeah.
And they're expensive.
Really expensive. They are.
Yeah, that's nice.
I always liked Jetfire in the cartoon, but I never had any attachment to his toy.
Well, see, in the cartoon it was Skyfire.
Right.
And he had a face. He looked completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they couldn't get I want to say Bandai holds the rights to these, and they couldn't get the
rights to use Jetfire. Right.
In a cartoon. Right. As a toy, sure. In a cartoon, no.
No.
Because they were already doing their own cartoons in Japan.
Yep. Now, moving down the line here, these are ones I had and I absolutely love. Now, when I was a child, I had a best friend named Jonathan Bond, and yes, that was his real last name. And we were big into Transformers, just like anybody else. I had Blaster and his cassettes, and he had Soundwave and his cassettes.
Nice.
As a kid, I always wanted his Soundwave. He would never let me play with his Soundwave. Now, I absolutely love Blaster, and I love his cassettes. I had all four of them. They were I think I had Laserbeak here. I had Laserbeak and Buzzsaw. I never had Ravage, Rumble, Frenzy, or Ratbat. Now, I'm only talking about the main, like, I know, Slugfest and all the other cassettes that they came out with. I know all of those, but, I mean, let's be honest. For me, as someone who loves show accuracy and stuff that appears in the cartoon that they make toys out of or vice versa, those are the main ones that I'm going to be drawn to. I loved Eject and Rewind. I loved Ramhorn and Steeljaw. Now, I found out that, and I don't know, people might, Proto Man or somebody might have to correct me, or you might have to correct me. Steeljaw and Ramhorn, I had gold weapons with them. And then I've seen other people with silver weapons with them. So,
right,
which market had the golden? Because I don't remember. I could have sworn somebody told me that the gold ones were a Japanese market or something like. I don't remember.
No, I think they were just reissued.
Okay.
Yeah, because originally the Decepticon cassettes came with silver weapons,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it was 86 or if it was 85, but at some point they started being released with gold weapons.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What about you on Eject, Ramhorn, Steeljaw, and Rewind?
I never liked Eject and Rewind.
Oh.
Well, yeah, because to me, I mean, Rumble and Frenzy were the shit, right?
Right.
And these guys
Because
were kind of
Rumble is
like,
purple and Frenzy is red.
whatever. I don't want to go there right now. But what it comes down to is, to me, these guys were like cheap knockoffs of Rumble and Frenzy. And it's like, oh, these guys are crap. I don't want these two. And they were both the same. And how dare they both be the same? Because they're not Rumble and Frenzy. Yeah, I just didn't like these particular characters. Now, Ramhorn and Steeljaw I thought were cool to a certain extent. But Steeljaw was always my favorite because I mean he's a winged lion. I mean, what's not cool about that?
Yeah, he's awesome. Now, in the show, well, I should say in the movie first, and then in the show when the cassettes appeared later, Eject gets a bad rap because Eject had one scene where he shot at Ravage in the movie, and he never talked. Rewind, eventually in season 3, became like the Autobot historian and remembering everything from the past. So I liked that aspect of it.
With a name like Rewind, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Now, we do have to talk about some of these little mini vehicles here. We're not going to talk about Bumblebee or any kind of thing like that because
none of those 84 characters.
Yeah. Cosmos, Warpath, Wheelie,
Sea Spray,
Power
Glide. Hold on.
Power Glide was 85.
Yeah, some of these are 85.
Yeah, they kind of mixed them all in.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Cosmos, Warpath, Power Glide, Sea Spray, those are all 85. The new ones, please, the new ones were like Outback, Tailgate.
Yeah.
I think Pipes was a new one this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all repaints.
Right.
So you've got Tailgate, who's a Gears repaint. What's his name? Swerve.
Pipes.
No, Swerve is the white
Swerve,
cliff jumper repaint.
Yeah.
And who else? Outback was the Braun repaint. I liked him because he came with a gun.
Yeah, Outback was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat. No, I think the rest of these are all 85.
Yeah.
Is Wheelie 85?
Wheelie was 86 because he was in the movie. Wheelie first appeared in the movie.
Yeah, but Wheelie sucks ass.
Well, yeah, but it still...
I mean, he doesn't just suck ass as a character. He sucks ass as a toy. He's a really crappy toy.
Right, but he was still the 80... He still came out in 86 because it wouldn't make any sense for them to put him out in 85 because the movie wasn't released yet.
I suppose. Now, the one guy who is kind of weird here, as far as new guys for 86, is Pipes. Now, he's a Huffer repaint, but he transforms differently.
Ah.
Yeah, his head's in the wrong spot. So instead
He's got his head on backwards.
He kind of does. Instead of the cab of the semi-truck pulling back and having the head inside, like Huffer,
right?
The whole thing kind of flips over and becomes a backpack.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, I thought that, well, when I was little, let's say, I thought that was a better transformation.
Right.
And at least his arms face up properly. They don't face down like Huffer's. Or maybe I'm getting that backwards. But, yeah, I thought that Pipes was a better toy.
Yeah. Pipes looks really cool.
I was going to say
I never liked Huffer. It's not so much that I didn't like his toy. I never liked his character in the cartoon because he was kind of like Gears, but he wasn't as angry as Gears. He was just mainly the whiny, complaining Autobot, and I never really liked him. So moving on to...
Oh, wait. I was going to say, I'm actually looking at the toys now. I'm looking in my... It's kind of neat because my 1985-86 Toyline shelf is at eye level, so I can just kind of stand here and eyeball him.
Sweet.
But yeah, Huffer, his arms actually point down, and Pipes, his arms point up
Point
so that
up.
he can, he
Right.
doesn't actually have hands. He's got pipes for hands,
Right. Yeah.
hence the name.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so I thought that was cool. I always preferred Pipes. That's just me.
Now
Triple changers?
we're about. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold
Oh, I
on.
forgot. You hate this particular one.
Wait, which one?
You know the one.
Which one?
Springer.
Oh no! We're not even over back to the left yet. No.
Oh, we're not talking about that? Oh, okay.
No, not yet. So now we go to the point of the fact that why do you Autobots die so easily? And the fact that, arise Rodimus Prime. Optimus.
We gotta talk
Now-
about Phalamus Prime.
Oh, shut up.
Why am I not as good as Optimus
Shut
Prime?
up. Okay, but
Why,
shut up.
why?
Okay, yeah, that was season 3. Okay, in the movie, for as quick a scene as Rodimus himself had, because I mean, yes, Hot Rod and Rodimus are the same person, but
Let's talk about Rodimus's key achievements here. Number 1, he was
Here you go.
Daniel's bitch. Number 2, he got Optimus Prime killed. Number 3, I want to say he got Ultra Magnus killed too, temporarily.
no, you can't blame that on him.
I totally blame him for that.
No, you cannot. Okay, you cannot blame Galvatron. You cannot blame Rodimus for Galvatron making Ultra Magnus go boom, because at the time, Hot Rod and Cup were crash landed on Quintessa, and he had to saw his way away from a squid. You cannot blame the quote unquote supposed death of Ultra Magnus on Hot Rod.
I can't. There's a very tangled web of blame here. You see.
All right. Anyway, so the toy.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is a craft toy.
I love this toy.
Really? Okay, so we're talking about a Prime. Now the previous Prime. No, we're just talking about the toy. Okay, in '84, the previous Prime toy, the trailer came off, opened up, and there was a base.
Yeah.
With, there was like a robot, and there was room for other cars to pull up into it.
Right.
And there was a place to put your gun, and it was a very good add-on. There's a lot of value there. Now,
well, to be fair, Optimus's trailer was much longer than Rodimus's Winnebago.
Winnebago.
So
how are they thinking? It's literally a Winnebago.
I know, but still, I still like it for what it is. The only thing that I don't really like is that Rodimus is
a brick,
extremely tall.
Oh, see now, I like the fact that they differentiate him from Hot Rod, right? I mean, he's taller, and he's I like that. He's not as pink, fuchsia might be the word, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I dig that. I like it that his face is different, and the crest on his back is larger.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the time, I hadn't seen the movie. I didn't know Hot Rod turned into Rodimus Prime. It did. I mean, even the name didn't make any sense. I had assumed at the time, I was little, that this was like his big brother. It was like a big brother, and he was a different Prime, because they're not going to kill Optimus Prime. I mean, why would you do that, right? Yeah. But that's just why no. But they did. Yeah, damn it, bastards.
All right. So
anyway, so what you end up with is Hot Rod, who is a little more than Bumblebee, at the time, ending up becoming the leader somehow or another, and because he's Judd Nelson, that's why. Judd Nelson became the leader of the Autobots.
Damn right.
And then they gave him this really crappy trailer with this giant ass gun that he can barely stand in front of. I mean, it would have been cool if it would have moved maybe if the gun had been pushed, you could push it toward the center of the trailer a little bit, so there'd be room on there for Rodimus to stand.
Yeah.
But it's just Yeah, it's just really hard to play with this toy.
Now, I will say, as far as the stand-up ability of this toy, yes, you are correct, as far as being able to hold the gun. However, as much as it has a lot of issues with it, Takara put out MP09, which is a larger scale version of Rodimus and Hot Rod
Now, this
together.
is a masterpiece version. This is not
Right,
the cheap plastic version that came out in '86.
right.
Two
So, I
colors of cheap plastic that with no articulation whatsoever. We're talking about a
right,
masterpiece version out of Japan
right,
with like 50 points of articulation, who
right.
actually transforms into two separate robot modes.
And two separate vehicle modes, and he also has the base, and I believe he can stand inside the trailer holding the gun. I think so. I'm gonna have to go back and watch a video review of it to see.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of
whereas
hard to
this,
compare a masterpiece figure to the I don't want to say cheap piece of crap that came out in '86, but God, this was a horrible toy.
I love this toy
Oh
regardless.
my
of
God,
what
this is a horrible toy. No, this toy is horrible.
I love the toy, so shut up.
What
All
it's
right,
like?
moving on to the microscope. We have Perceptor.
Yeah,
I don't know. I remember having Perceptor, but I never really cared for Perceptor at all. Really, the toy, I just didn't like.
well, the question
wasn't in-
becomes, why does he have tank treads?
so he can be a roving microscope.
So he can roll in microscope mode?
Yep.
That makes no sense. Does Soundwave have tank treads?
No.
Does Blaster
Well,
have tank treads so he can roll around in Blaster mode? It just didn't make any sense to me. In Japan, again, undocumented feature, he has a tank mode,
yeah.
but they didn't put that in the instructions, so it made no sense whatsoever. Why would you? I guess they assumed American kids would be smart enough to make a tank out of him. It's a crappy tank, but
Yeah.
it could be construed as a tank. But the
Yeah.
cool thing about this guy is that he was an actual working microscope.
Yep.
You could look down the cylinder there, and it would magnify things a little, a very tiny bit. But
Yes.
it was actually a working microscope. That was
Yes.
neat.
Yeah, it was. So, do you talk TV? Because this next guy talks TV.
I tried.
Retgar. I love the character in the movie, but this toy is fugly.
Oh, God, this is a snuggly toy. No, I mean, seriously, he looks like he's got a CRT picture tube on it for a head.
I know.
It's really bad.
So bad.
But hey, it's a motorcycle. And at the time, they
I've never liked motorcycle Transformers.
Oh, I
What it
love
is.
motorcycle transfers. Honestly, they're hard to do. They're so hard to do that you don't see them very often.
Right.
And this was their first attempt, and it was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, does it look like a motorcycle? Well, it kind of looks like a robot folded in half with a tire sticking out of its front. I don't want to say sticking out of his ass because it's in the front, but you get the picture.
Yeah.
It's again, not a very good motorcycle mode. Did it look cool on film? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you see 50 of them, crashing and reconfiguring and writing each other in the movie, it's awesome. You want to go out and buy an army of them.
Yeah.
I did. I wanted like 10 of them. I never got one, but I wanted 10.
Yeah. It's not hard to knock them down. It's get them to stay down. That's the trick. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Well, the cool thing about him, let me think about what's cool about him. The cool thing about him is
There's nothing cool about the toy.
No, well, the one cool thing about the toy is that he has articulated shoulders, articulated arms, and his wrists turn.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's got more articulation than 80% of the rest of the toys in this toy line already. And his chest is chrome.
Yeah.
Well, the engine block is chrome.
Right.
So that's kind of, I want to say he's got articulation in the knees too. And that he may bend a little bit at the hips. But again, he's got like modern toy articulation. And this is coming from a series where you've got Whirl, who's got 4 points of articulation. Or any of the combiner limbs, which have no articulation. Well, I shouldn't say that. The articulation they afford is their arms come up. So
Yep.
maybe 2 points of articulation. 3 if you include the head. He has the built-in ability to look down.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they got. So no, this was pretty amazing at the time. I don't know where this guy, I don't want to say he came from like a Bandai or whatever. He may have, he may have come directly out of Hasbro, but it's hard. It would be hard to believe if he did.
Yeah. Now, just like Skylinks, because Skylinks is a motorized actual walking toy, because I did see a video review of somebody showing it that he does walk on his own.
Yeah.
Omega Supreme also walks.
He does, yeah.
Omega Supreme is awesome.
Not on carpet though.
No.
No, not on carpet. No, the cool thing about Omega Supreme is that he's a train set.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, I mean, he becomes he's a tank, but he's a tank that follows a little train track around in a circle. And I did have this one as a kid, and the coolest thing in the world for me was just to put down the track and make him go around. And it's cool because while the tank goes around the tank turret spins and it lights up. It kind of bobs up and down and spins. It is a really neat thing to play with. It's really cool. It's another one of those that has the clear plastic. I want to say clear plastic or clear decals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like the decals that the rest of the toys come with.
The problems with Omega Supreme, though, if you lose one piece, you're fucked.
Well, the legs clasp together with these yellow binders.
Right.
And if you lose one of the front binders, the legs won't hold together. There are 2 in the back, and if you lost one of them, you'd be okay. If you lost both of them, you're in trouble. There was 4 in all. I think if you lost 2 of them, you'd still be all right because you could put one on each leg. But the front ones, if you lost them, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the rest of the pieces, became the tracks.
Yeah. That's what I mean. If you lost one of those pieces,
oh yeah, then
you're fucked.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, if you just had the wings, you could put that and make it a perfect circle, and you could just watch your tank go around in the circle forever. Which, granted, wouldn't be as much fun, but you could do it. And he's got a little base mode. I want to say base mode, but the tank goes around the track. In the center of the track, you've got the rocket ship and the backpack, which becomes kind of the rocket scaffolding or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, so no, he's a really cool toy. Not terribly cool to play with in robot mode. Again, because he's a brick. His shoulders rotate, and to a certain extent, his elbows will rotate, or not rotate, but his elbows will bend.
Right.
And there's not a whole lot of articulation there, but he walks. His feet actually move on their own, and it's like, well, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Unless you're on the carpet, in which case it's not the coolest thing you've ever seen. He's kind of trying to do a moonwalk there, and not really getting anywhere with it.
Yeah. No, you're right. And it's
big. He's a big toy.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this is essentially, instead of putting 5 robots into one to have a combiner, this is just one character that's his own combiner that
he combines into himself.
Into himself.
In retrospect, what would have really been cool is if he had like attachment ports where you could plug your combiners into him like you could with Metroplex. But again, this guy came out in 85, not 86, so he wasn't designed at the same time. In fact, I think this is another one of those toys that was licensed from another toy line.
Yeah.
There's an older version of this toy that's like black and silver. Really cool to see. It's a really neat toy.
Yeah, very awesome. Now, moving down the line, the only thing the 86 and G1 is missing entirely, and I'm kind of glad that it was never made, is RC. Because this next toy is a home-wrecking son of a bitch interrupting Cock blocking motherfucker.
Cock blocking. Now, later on, you're going to find out that Hot Rod and RC were brother and sister. And that it was perfectly okay to cock block. Right?
No.
Like Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, and Luke Skywalker's like,
No.
yeah,
Shut
Skywalker's
up.
like,
Shut
I'm
up.
getting me some of that, and that's your sister, dude. But
I knew of, obviously from seeing the movie, I knew of Astro Train, I knew of Blitzwing, I knew of those triple changers. Even watching TFTM, it did not occur to me at the time that Springer was a triple changer.
Okay.
Because when I saw the scene where one of the Junkions backed him into a corner and he transforms into this assault car-looking vehicle thing, and then he transforms again and pulls his, Excalibur out of his back. I've never liked. I love Neil Ross's voice of Springer. I love that part of it, but the character of Springer himself, I've never liked.
The problem I had with Springer as a toy, not so much a character,
right?
As a toy, I had was that, he turns into a car, right?
Yep.
And then you take the gun off the top and you put a propeller, and he's a helicopter.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awful. No, I mean, this is just such a crap transformation. This is not a triple changer in the sense of the word. If you look at the original triple changers, Astro Train, he's a train.
Yeah.
He's a space shuttle. It's not, he's a train with a propeller on top. It's not a propeller train. Here it's like, oh, look, it's a car. It's not a car. I don't know what the hell that is. That's not a car. That looks like a helicopter with wheels.
Yeah.
It's and then, oh, look, it's a helicopter with a propeller.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like there's not a whole lot of thought here. And the toy itself in robot mode
sucks.
Well, most of them, the good ones, have a metal chest. So, we'll give him that. He's got die-cast metal on him.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of stickers on him, and those stickers, sadly. Well, number one, they suck. Yes, they're not very. the detail they provide is kind of crappy, to be honest. I've seen knockoffs with nice stickers. It's like, wow, that's cool looking. The Transformers stickers for this toy was awful. And the propeller, when it folds up into a sword, worst sword ever, because the whole thing just wants to kind of limp over. So it's like, look, he's got a sword, and now it's going. Yeah. It's really sad. It's like, meet Bob.
Yeah.
Bob needs a little pick me up today.
Yeah, Springer needs a little spring in his step.
Needs a little pep in his step. Yeah. But no, he's just a crap toy. Now, I don't know. I like the other two to a certain extent.
Broadside and Sandstorm.
Yeah, to a certain extent, I like Broadside. Because he kind of looks like a jet. It's the worst jet ever, right? But he kind of looks like a jet, and he kind of looks like
an aircraft
carrier. Now, for me, aircraft carrier, that's cool. He looks like an aircraft carrier. But
too bad he wasn't 7 feet long and you can put a bunch of G.I. Joes on him.
Exactly. We should have had the USS Flag Broadside. That would have been neat.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if they would have done that, it would have been awful. It would have been terrible. But no, I mean, literally, it's like, look, he's an aircraft carrier, and then you turn him over and pull the wings out and go, look, he's an airplane.
Yeah.
If he's an upside-down aircraft carrier, he's an airplane.
Yeah.
It's that bad. And the sad thing is, in robot mode, he's a brick.
Well, let's face it, G1s, I mean, outside of like the mini-bots, like Cosmos, like Bumblebee, like Sea Spray, like Wheelie, like Power Glide, let's be honest, a lot of the ones that are boats, trains, planes, automobiles, stuff like that, they are bricks. They're going to be, that's just the way the style was back then. I mean, it's not like today where they could, do thousands of awesome, I mean, I was going to mention this when we were talking about Spring, I'll mention it here. As much as I don't really care for third-party stuff nowadays, Fans Project did an amazing job with War Defender, with bringing
Right.
Springer into the new toy world of having awesome stuff done with him.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
I'll buy that. But I mean, if you look at like Wreck-Gar,
yeah,
or to a lesser extent, like Roadbuster,
yeah.
these are toys that are good-sized toys with lots of detail and a decent amount of articulation.
And Broadside has none of that.
You look at Broadside, well, you look at Springer, you look at Broadside, to a certain extent, you look at Sandstorm, all the detail there is stickers.
Yeah.
All the detail stickers. They don't have any articulation aside from their shoulders.
Yeah.
In some cases, their weapons are cool. I
Yeah.
really dig the axe for Broadside. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But I mean, the majority of the play value is going to be in your imagination, sadly.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Sandstorm's neat. I mean, he's got 2 distinct modes.
He has 2 very distinct modes in his alt forms.
Yeah. I mean, here you have a car that looks like a real car. It looks like a dune buggy.
Yeah.
And you have a helicopter that looks like a real helicopter. It doesn't look like a car with a propeller on it.
Yeah.
Now, sadly, his robot mode suffers for that. Because the robot mode looks like a car that you tipped over.
No,
It
it
has a
doesn't look
face
like
on
a
it.
car you tipped over. It looks like you took the car and the helicopter and mashed them together.
Yeah, and put a face on it.
Exactly.
And his face is probably a sticker. He has even less articulation than Springer, sadly. I mean, it's like his arms don't move, his legs don't move, but his elbows bend. So you can bend his elbows up just enough to hold the gun.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, it's just a horrible robot. It's just a horrible, horrible robot. But his vehicle modes are really, really cool.
His vehicle modes are very cool.
No, it's a very cool vehicle mode stuff. Yeah.
I don't think, like, Transformers in general, toys and G1 animation, we only had a few off-road type of vehicles. The rest of them are all car, Jazz, Bumblebee, Sideswipe,
Yeah.
Suns, those are all cars. You had stuff like Hound, you had stuff like Beachcomber, you had stuff like Sandstorm, where it's not often that you see a dune buggy transformer that's going to transform into a helicopter and a robot. I mean, that's cool. The robot mode, not so much. Moving on to the false leader of the Autobots, the one that couldn't handle the pressure.
I don't have time for this.
Open, damn it, open, is Ultra Magnus. Now, I have a lot to say about this because it makes me extremely fucking mad.
Why? What do you have against Ultra Magnus?
It's not anything against Ultra Magnus. It's what Hasbro does to Ultra Magnus now.
Oh, because he's not a white Optimus Prime repaint?
No. That's all he fucking is.
Because you know what? He is a white Optimus Prime repaint.
Right.
I mean, you look at vehicle mode here. What do you see on the front of the vehicle?
It's a white Optimus Prime.
White Optimus Prime.
That's not what the animation had as far as, again, I'm going to have to go back and look.
I think the animation had the Diaclone colors, didn't they?
That's my biggest problem with Ultra Magnus is that nowadays Hasbro, all as they want to do is, he's a white Optimus Prime and blah, 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 and that's it.
They forget that powered armor.
Yeah. I mean, and even looking at his giant, brickish, robot mode here, at least he has the blue head.
The silver face or the blue head?
The blue head. And the silver face. I mean, it's not a white Optimus Prime head.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have went with something like Power Master Prime, where you have this giant Optimus Prime head that just sits on top of it.
Right, yes.
But the neat thing about Ultra Magnus is his Diaclone roots. I mean, originally there were a lot of these.
Yeah.
They were all I don't want to say they were all commanders, but there was a bunch of trucks, and they came in red and blue and white, and they had or black. I think there was a black one. There may have been, but they had trailers, and the trailer was just powered armor. So the robot mode, the combined mode, we'll call it that, was not, a character by itself, but it was the semi truck was the character, and he just nestled himself down into the armor.
Right.
I mean, that's basically what we're seeing nowadays is Ultra Magnus out of the armor. He's just a white Prime repaint. He's a little Prime.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, but no, it was a nice concept. I don't know how well executed it was. You know, he doesn't have a lot of articulation. You know, I think his shoulders rotate, and I think his elbows rotate, and his fists are separate pieces, so those kind of rotate, but they also pop off. But aside from that, he doesn't really move. But as we've seen with a lot of these other figures, they don't move much either.
Right, yeah.
So it's hard to fault him. The only difference here is this is a big toy.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
Well, not huge like an Omega Supreme or huge like a Metroplex, but, compared to the rest of the cars, he's easily 3 times as big.
Right, exactly. I mean, well, you can fit the smaller cars inside him as a car carrier.
Yeah, originally I never saw this as a car carrier.
Well, right, no, he's a mobile armored vehicle. He's supposed to be like a missile truck or whatever else.
Yeah.
I just posted you links to images of him from the actual cartoon. One is his TFTM appearance or a season 3 appearance.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Other one is the Negaverse.
The Negaverse we should have got a repaint of that. The green and maroon Ultra Magnus.
Yeah,
that's not even Diaclone colors.
Exactly. And I will make sure to put these links in the in the show notes so people can see these. But no, I don't like how Hasbro handles Ultra Magnus today, where everything is just a white Optimus Prime.
Well, we need a white Optimus Prime and we need a black Optimus Prime, and that's why we have Ultra Magnus and Scourge.
That's true. Lastly,
gotta get those repaints somehow.
Yeah. Lastly, for the Autobots are 2 85 line pieces with Blaster and the Dinobots.
I can't lump those together.
Yeah.
See, because the difference here is Blaster sucks.
No. Hold on. Blaster is awesome in his own right.
All right. Well, we have to clarify here now. The American Blaster kind of sucks.
No.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, go ahead. Tell me why he doesn't suck.
I always liked Blaster because and this is something we never got in the U.S. cartoon. We got it in Headmasters, but in the Japanese version of Headmasters.
Yeah.
I always loved the fact that Soundwave and Blaster were each other's adversaries.
Okay.
Like, you had Optimus and Megatron. You had
Nemesis.
Starscream. You know.
My evil nemesis. Yeah.
Soundwave is no Dr. Doofenshmirtz, but he's, But I think it was because Blaster was the toy that I had, and his cassettes were the ones that I had, as I said before.
Yeah.
And, so that's why I like Blaster. I always thought he was kind of cool. Sure, a lot of his episodes suck, but I always thought the toy was cool because you had 2 very different cassette decks. Blaster was boombox. Soundwave was like an actual regular cassette deck.
Yeah, he's a Walkman.
Like a what?
Soundwave was a Walkman. Sony
yeah,
Walkman.
Soundwave was a Walkman. Yeah.
But I number one just didn't like the boombox mode. It's I don't know. It's like the chess piece kind of comes out of the whole front and kind of kills it for the boombox one. It doesn't look right. And then in robot mode, number one, his shoulders are very loose. And he has no knees. He's got very little posability.
Yeah.
And you'd think he'd have more.
Yeah. I will say that Blaster does suffer a lot, simply because for his arms and his shoulders, it's not giant, but there is a metal rod running through his chest to attach the arms and shoulders, because I've actually seen this, because I've seen it on the toy, because I had the toy.
Yeah.
There's that metal piece there, and that's kind of off-putting, I will agree. But I was always attached to Blaster as a kid. Now, the Dinobots...
I want to talk about Blaster for a second.
All right, go ahead.
We got to flesh this out here. On your toy, did the chest open?
Yes, it did.
Okay, because that sometimes doesn't work.
Right, exactly.
I don't know if it was a running change or if it didn't open at first and then eventually they fixed that and it did work. But on a lot of them, they don't open at all. And you'd think that would be one of the selling points for this toy, like Soundwave, is that you can open the chest and put a toy in, or put a cassette guy in there.
Right.
And
Now,
I
if
could
I
never
was
get it
going
open.
to get a blaster today, if I was going to go out and buy a blaster today,
Yeah.
I would get the, was it 2008, 2009 San Diego Comic-Con version of Blaster. Because I believe his chest, the SDCC version, his chest does open.
And he accommodates 2 cassettes, I think that one did.
I think. I'm not sure. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I know the Soundwave one did.
Yeah, the G1 blaster that I had, I was very lucky in that I was probably the only kid in my out of all my friends, I was the only one that had a blaster that his tape deck did open.
So you lucked out because
yeah.
I searched really hard to find one, and mine sticks.
Yeah,
Now,
mine did stick, but it did open. It did open and close,
well,
but
there you go.
It did stick.
But
it's not like what you're saying, where some of them you buy that you go on eBay and you buy it thinking that it's going to open, and then it's like it doesn't open.
Like it's glued shut or something,
Yeah, pretty much.
Now the Japanese version, just to digress really quick,
TwinCast.
It had not TwinCast, just the regular blaster.
Oh, okay.
Now, TwinCast was the blue repaint of Blaster.
Right.
The regular old Blaster, number 1, had an actual radio. There was a micro cassette shaped AM radio receiver that you could turn on and off from the toy. So I think on his back he had a switch.
Yeah.
And you would put the cassette in his chest and close it, and then turn on the AM radio from his back. There was also a headphone set. It wasn't a headphone so much as it was like an earbud.
Mm-hmm.
And the wire would come out of the side of the toy, and you can still see it in the U.S. version. The hole's still there, I believe. But the wire would come out and then snake around down his arm, and you'd wrap it around his gun. Now, the gun is made in such a way where there's a big circle in the middle of it.
Yep.
And in the American version, you're like, what the hell is this giant circle here for? Because you can stick your finger through it. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a gun. But in Japan, the earbud plugged into that circle.
Oh,
so
sweet.
he would literally hold on to his own speaker. Well, it was too big to put in your ear, granted, but it looked like, nowadays we call it an earbud. But it was a little speaker that fit into his gun. So you could put the AM receiver in his chest, turn on the toy from behind, and his gun would play music.
Right.
I mean, that's awesome. And somehow that got lost in the translation to the U.S. version. But, my opinion of Blaster would have been 180 degrees in the opposite direction if he had retained that feature.
I don't like TwinCast.
I don't remember if TwinCasts had like the double chest ability, if that made them different, because the Soundwave repaint,
Sound Blaster
had
the double chest,
right, and that's what made him different. I don't know if Blaster had, or if TwinCast, I should say, had a double chest. I'm not entirely sure.
Like his contemporary Redeco Sound Blaster, his chest door was retooled in order to accommodate 2 cassettes at once. So yes, TwinCast does have the dual ability. I just don't like the colors. I don't mind the blue. I don't like the white, and then the white on his legs and the red speakers.
Yeah,
it's just not something I really care about. Now I believe if I search here, because I love searching for stuff. Let me see.
We're gonna edit all this out.
No, it's fine. No, it never actually happened. That sucks.
What?
I was hoping that, because when I searched for Blaster originally on TF Wiki, obviously I was looking for G1, but it, as you type in their search bar for titles of characters, it'll show Blaster G1, Blaster, Headmasters, whatever. It showed Blaster animated. And I was like, wait, Blaster never showed up in animated. And it says here, some 800 stellar cycles ago, Blaster put himself through Autobot boot camp. He ended up in the same class as Hot Rod, Scram, and Quickslinger. Impressed with the volume of his music, Drill Sergeant Cup assigned him the name Blaster. He ended up in a high position in the Autobot ranks and presumably gained some measure of fame, as he was well known enough to have his face on the menu at McAdam's old oil house. And that's from the oil. That's from the oil. That's from the Allspark pack too. Yeah. Now, nice. I would have loved to have seen Blaster in Transformers Animated. I thought that would have been really cool.
As long as he didn't rhyme.
Oh, God, here we go.
For some reason, Wheelie rhymes, and he's universally shunned. Blaster rhymes, and it's like, oh,
it's awesome.
He's awesome. I just don't see it. The rhyming annoys me. I was going to say one last thing here. Looking at the picture on the wiki for TwinCast, he doesn't have the speaker piece. So I'm thinking maybe TwinCast did not include that feature.
Probably not, because, I mean, they can't give us every single feature, so they probably swapped out the speaker piece for the double-holded cassette thing.
Oh, no, yeah, I'd bow by that, sure. Yeah, he's got the same gun, though. It just isn't... It's like, well, let's just reuse his gun, even though it's kind of worthless.
Well, I always liked Blaster's gun because it was so unique, even though I didn't know about the speaker piece. I always just... Yes, granted, there's, the way I always saw Blaster's gun is because there's a giant hole in the middle and there's an open circle.
Yeah.
I thought and I know this is stupid, I thought it was kind of like a full automatic machine gun where the bullets would multi-fire and they would go around in the circle and then come out the barrel.
Okay. Yeah, all right, sure. No, I mean it's different. And it may suffer for its difference because that ring breaks. It's hard to find blaster guns.
Oh yeah,
I searched for many years for one.
Yeah, blaster guns are very. You'll be extremely lucky if you can get one that is not warped.
Yeah, or broke. Yeah, no, they're hard to find.
So finally, for the Autobots, now again, I believe these came out in '85, but. We switch over to the Dinobots. Now, I always loved Grimlock, Slag, Swoop, and Snarl.
Yeah.
I never liked Sludge.
What? No. See, Sludge. I liked Sludge a lot. I like Sludge and I like Snarl. I thought the Grimlock was a little too overdone. It's like, God, I always see Grimlock. Yeah, you never see Sludge. You never see Snarl. But those are two of my favorites. My cousin had a Slag, and I thought that was kind of cool, but he just didn't compare to my Snarl.
Yeah. Now, one of the reasons why I always liked Snarl and Swoop was because, every kid I knew loved the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Triceratops and I always thought Sludge was a Brontosaurus, but I know that's not correct. But I love the Stegosaurus and I love the Pteranodons. So I always liked Swoop and Snarl the best. And I do like Grimlock simply because it's Grimlock. I like him in the animation more so in toy form, obviously.
Right.
But the only thing that really makes me mad about the toys is, again, they're not... Specifically to Swoop, he's not show accurate because he's red and not blue. He was blue in the movie, not red. I don't understand why the toy is red. And
Diaclone colors.
Yeah, that's true.
They were all blue. I'm pretty sure they were. All the red was blue in Diaclone.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. And again, these guys have really neat transformations.
Yeah.
You look at some of the other toys. I want to say the smaller toy, like the Minibots or the Combiner Limbs. These guys aren't much better than GoBots. No, I mean seriously, the transformations are very simple.
Yeah.
Literally you stand up the vehicle and you pull the arms out. Oh, look, it's a robot. The Dinobots have very complex transformations. They're very satisfying. In most cases, they have ratcheting limbs, so when you snap them into place, you hear it. It makes a very nice thunk 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 noise. You know it's there. They came with a lot of accessories. They each had a sword and a gun and a rocket launcher. And a lot of the details were molded into the the plastic, so it wasn't all stickers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so no, I mean these are just really, really nice figures. They were for a long time they were my favorites. I like these better than the cars.
Yeah, and of course, Grimlock has a masterpiece figure that's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the world's smallest Transformer versions of these?
Yes, they are so cool.
Yeah, there's a third party called Just It Toys that makes those. And
Justy Toys makes those.
They're tiny versions of the Dinobots, and they're just very, very neat. I've got a bunch of them.
Yeah, they're basically if the Dinobots were mini-cons.
Well, I can't even say that because the transformations are the exact same as their 85 version. I mean, these aren't just small, crappy plastic. These are miniaturized versions of the originals.
Right.
With the same transformation, the same weapons, the same accessories.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're really, really neat. They're worth checking out. And they're relatively cheap. I mean, I think I got mine for like $15 each or something at BotCon.
I've always liked the Dinobots. As I said, I don't know. I just didn't feel like a connection to Sludge. But I've always liked them as a team and them working together. Burley and Baloney, Cesium, Salami, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Why, boy, hit my nose. I just I always love the Dinobots because again, in season 1 when they premiered, in '84 in the cartoon, it was something different. It wasn't just cars and trains and planes and guns and cassette decks. It was something new and something different that they did. And of course, after that, I would eventually end up with, zoo books and all that stuff that entailed. But there you go. That's the 1986 Autobots. And now we move on to the Decepticons. Now, we're going to streamline this a bit. We're not going to talk about any of the 85 toys that show up.
No?
No, we're going to streamline it just a little bit. I mean, we can spend a little bit of time, but we're not going to spend as much time as we did on the Autobots. So, first up, which I didn't think this came out till 87. First up on the top left of the picture is the Predacons and Predaking.
Yeah, this is a toy that I wanted really bad. And, for obvious reasons, it's huge. I mean, how should I put this? The other combiners, the ones that I was just complaining about being little more than GoBots. You've got your Stunticons and your aerial bots and such. It's like, they're small. When you look at the combined mode, you think, man, that's got to be a big toy. But then you find out that like Motormaster is smaller than most of the regular sized cars.
Right.
So it's like, man, when they combine mode, they're actually kind of small. It's like Menasor is smaller than Ultra Magnus as a toy, right?
Yeah.
But then you get into the Predacons, and each one of these guys is bigger than most of the cars.
Yeah.
And combined, Predaking is, I want to say, bigger than the Metroplex. And I'm gonna look.
Yes, I think he is slightly bigger than Metroplex.
I was gonna say I thought I had my Predaking down here next to Metroplex, but he's not.
The reason why Predaking is a little bit bigger than Metroplex is all of the outward appendages, like the wings, like the little side thing that's like the little gun side thing that's on the side of him.
Well, just in height. Height alone, he's huge. He's really tall. He's wide. I mean, he's all shoulders and hips. I mean, he's still very square.
Yeah.
He's almost as wide as he is tall. But as far as combiners go, he's got a lot of articulation. You can
Yes, he
move him
does.
at the shoulders. You can move him at the hips to a certain extent. The wings move. The arm. Well, I'm trying to remember if there's articulation at the elbows. I don't think there is. Maybe the wee's tiniest bit, but no. I mean, he's still a brick, but he's a big brick. And if you're gonna go for a combiner, get this one. First of all, get Devastator because he's still the original and the best, right?
Right.
But no, this guy, he's really really big, and you can almost forgive him for being cheap plastic, like
Yeah.
most of the rest of this '86 line. But no, I mean a Predaking, especially a Predaking with die-cast metal parts, is a rare and wonderful thing.
Yes, it is.
Have you seen the new reissue they have?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this guy, the reissue is got. Well, I think they reissued a regular version, but like the reissue has a lot of gold stickers. So, I mean, the stickers that they have now normally were replaced with, I want to say, like really, really gold. So he's almost like he's almost yellowish as opposed to silverish, as far as the stickers go. But
Yeah.
it's really, really cool looking. And if I had an extra $200 to drop on one, I would have gotten one. And I want to say the reissue was die-cast.
Yeah. Well, since you're going to attend NotCon 2012 and denounce BotCon 2012, you could put that money towards your Predaking.
Something like that, yeah. Crazy Devi also released parts for Predaking.
Yes,
And it's hard to believe because Predaking's pretty awesome. But I think they released like a huge sword for him.
Yeah, they did.
Or like a light up head or some other parts or bigger wings or bigger I want to say they gave him like huge cannons that go over his shoulders or something.
Yeah.
So some neat parts, but even without third party extra add-on bits, it's hard to go wrong with a Predaking. I mean, this is probably one of the more awesome figures you're going to get.
So the next one that we're going to be talking about in the line is the Combaticons, which were old military vehicles from the 1940s that Starscream repurposed into the Combaticons, which they form Bruticus, right?
Yep.
I like him in the cartoon. I never had the toys, so I can't really speak about this. This one, I don't know. I don't know about you, but
no, I like the Combaticons a lot. I like the Combaticons better than I like the Stunicons. I particularly like. Well, he's got a helicopter, and I had a thing for helicopters. I wanted a helicopter to land on my Metroplex. It's like, damn it, why don't I have a helicopter to land on a helipad? And they've got a space shuttle, which was awesome, and a tank.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, you didn't see a whole lot of tanks either.
Well, I mean, besides like Warpath, I mean, the
Warpath and
Onslaught was like the
Blitzwing
first
was a tank.
the Decepticons had.
Blitzwing is kind of a crappy tank.
Blitzwing was cool. Shut up.
He's cool, but again, his tank mode suffers for the triple changer. But no, I mean he's a tank, and they all have extra guns, and no, I really like these guys individually, and the combined mode didn't hurt either.
Mm-hmm.
Not paying attention, are you?
So as we talked about with the Autobots, the Decepticons also have their own city in Triptychon.
Yeah.
Which in later continuities he would be turned into a prison.
Triptychon I always thought was interesting, because number one, he's a giant Tyrannosaur, which is kind of cool.
He's the Transformers version of Godzilla.
Gojira! Yeah. Well, I mean, he's kind of like the counterpart to Metroplex.
Right, he is.
Yeah, and his battle mode is kind of cool, unlike Metroplex. He's got like armored city mode, but then he kind of turns into this very symmetrical, kind of city on a hill type of thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you see this in real life, it's cool. It looks neat.
Looks
Arguably, it's cooler than Metroplex.
Yeah.
Arguably. And then
Right.
again, when you get Motormaster and Onslaught in there turned into their base modes and kind of parked off on the side, it becomes that much more cooler. Now, what Trypticon does not have, as far as I know, is ports that would allow you to plug the combiner limbs into, like what Metroplex has.
Yeah, I don't see any ports on this.
I don't think he has any. I mean, it would be really neat if he did, but I don't think he does. Yeah, and he walks.
Yes, he walks as well.
And that's kind of neat. I mean, he lights up, he walks. I think he makes noises.
Yeah, he has a voice track.
Yeah, he lights up.
Yep.
So no, it's a really cool toy. It really is.
It is.
He's just so big. It's hard to find him with all of his parts and electronics intact.
Yeah, it is.
I guess not a lot of people bought it back in the day.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Unless you're, a guy out in Vegas that, refuses to sell his giant Transformers collection for $20,000. Because that guy had, like, multiple Trypticons, Pawn Stars.
Oh, the Pawn Stars thing again? Jeez Louise. The thing about the Pawn Stars guy is that he had multiples of each figure, but they weren't complete. Now,
Right.
I can go out and get just the body of a Trypticon for probably, $20-$30. But if I wanted one that had all of the stickers and that had electronics that weren't all corroded and gross and actually worked, one that walked and lit up and had all the parts, then that's a different story.
Right, exactly. So, moving on to which I never knew this figure exists. Like, I knew it existed in the cartoon, but I never knew they made an actual toy. Gra, the Sharkticon.
The Sharkticon.
This is very garish pink coloring.
Yeah, he's kind of pink and green, and he's kind of weird looking.
His shark mode is awesome. The robot mode, not so much. It didn't translate so well from screen to toy.
Not at all. No, I mean, honestly, he looks like an egg with legs. It's not even a neat thing, and he's kind of got this little limp ball and it's supposed to be like a flail or something, and it's just kind of sad.
Well, it's his mace.
It's a mace. I saw a mace. I saw a third-party replacement for the mace, and it basically made it into a great big huge mace with spikes on it, and like a great big. It was more of a mace than a flail, because it was, shall we say, fully erect. And they marketed it kind of like as Enzite, meet Bob. Bob has a problem.
Oh God, you did not just go there.
No, they did. It was funny. If I could find it again, it was like a. If I could find it again, I'd show you. But literally, they had a Energon RC, the pink motorcycle. Right. And Energon RC was kind of like posed with him alongside him, kind of wrapping her arms around him. And, Nas sitting there with this huge-ass tail weapon. And it's like, before, little limp flail. And after, giant mace with spikes on it. And it was like, okay, Bob, he's got his groove on. Yeah, it was neat. I wish I bought one. Do you have
this toy at all? Do you have the Sharkticon at all?
Yeah. The problem with Sharkticons are really easy to come by. Yeah. Not easy to come by one with the stickers. Not easy to come by that tail weapon. Those are hard to find.
Okay.
And I looked high and low. Now I've seen like dioramas of like trying to recreate parts of the movie with just a dozen Sharkticons.
Right.
But again, you're not going to find one with stickers intact or
Right.
tail weapons.
Right. Yeah.
That's hard to find. But yeah, they're easy to find. A lot of times, like the paint will scrape off, like that chrome
Right.
scrapes right off. The green paint on the eyes scrapes right off.
Oh.
Yes, I mean it's hard to find one in good shape. You could probably give one to like Rumble Frenzy, and he'll make a masterpiece out of it for you. But
Yeah.
paint the hell out of it, make it beautiful.
Yeah.
But just regular Sharkticons, give or take.
Moving on to the Decepticon City Commander Galvatron. This is why I said fuck earlier, is because I remember the movie. I remember seeing what color Galvatron was in the movie.
Yeah.
And
wasn't that color?
as a kid, damn right. And as a kid, a buddy of mine, Nick Minicello, he had this G1 Galvatron thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started collecting again in 2008 where I found the e-hobby version where it's more movie accurate.
More purple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He comes with a gold matrix, and he's awesome.
Yeah. No, the e-hobby repaint was really cool.
Yes.
But I mean, you had to wait 20 years to get it, but it was still really, really neat. Did that come with the electronics? Did the electronics work?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yes, it did.
Sometimes in the e-hobby ones or the repaints, they don't. The reissues, they don't come with the electronics sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, the neat thing about this guy is, he was a ray gun.
Right.
He had, they show him in cannon mode, but there was a handle that would flip down, and you could hold it like a gun and pull the trigger.
Yep.
So that's undocumented. I mean, maybe they thought that would make him look too much like Megatron.
Well, it's not really undocumented because it's in the instructions.
Is it?
When I bought the e-hobby version in 2008, it came pretty much C8, C9.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what C8 and C9 is, that's box. That's like mint. It's not mint condition, but it's condition of boxes and figures.
Right.
It came with instructions that showed you that Galvatron is a triple changer. I mean, yes, not technically in the in the sense of triple changer where the gun really isn't a third mode, but it did show that on
showed you that you could do it. See, it's not. There's no picture of it here, so I didn't think it was actually in the instruction book. But
right,
no, it's neat. This isn't a horrible toy. I mean, as far as it lights up. There's a gun mode. It makes phaser noises. That's kind of neat. Very little to no articulation. Like a lot of these toys.
He has no. The legs have no articulation because of the fact that he has a giant dick coming out of his ass. His arms have decent articulation. His arms don't. I should say his shoulders do, where his tank treads are. Those have decent articulation. He has Tyranno hands.
So he's got no forearms.
Look at my Tyranno arms.
He's just got little hands poking out of his elbows. Yeah. It's like, man, you didn't put a lot of thought into this transformation, did you?
No, not at all. And I just found the regular G1 one just totally just not what I wanted, and I was much happier with the e-hobby version. Now, again, that's one of the reasons why I said fuck earlier in the show, but I also said fuck earlier in the show because I was about a year and a half ago, I was addicted to robot heroes. I only have two still now. I have Optimus Prime and I have Ravage. But the Galvatron robot heroes that came with Galvatron and Sunstreaker 2-pack, the Galvatron robot heroes thing is so awesome. I want that so badly.
Oh, see, I've got one.
Oh, freaking cool.
I don't know. I'm kind of over the robot heroes. They're neat. I got a bunch of them. I don't think I have a complete set, but I got a bunch of them. And yeah, I got the ones that I wanted.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But I'm I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Galvatron, to be honest. I didn't like the character in the TV show. I certainly didn't like the fact that he replaced Megatron.
Well, he didn't technically in the movie and in the cartoon. He didn't technically replace Megatron. He was Megatron, just reformatted.
When he wasn't Megatron. He replaced Megatron.
No.
Megatron went
Train
away.
No. Astro Train said, "Well, they were the same guy," because they are. I mean, it's Megatron's brain just in a different form, But anyways,
Yeah, you beat that dead horse all to death, right? But
Run Amok and Runabout, the Battle Chargers.
these are horrible toys.
Wow, you're not even holding anything back. Tell us how you really feel.
Well,
Wow,
no,
really?
you know what? Honestly, if you compare them to their Autobot counterparts, which are going to be the jump starters,
These
they're
are much better than the Jump Starters.
these are masterpiece toys compared to the jump starters. But as far as like toys go, it's kind of like the opposite of a jump starter. Instead of flipping over, you pull them back and you let them go, and they go forward. And instead of flipping over like a jump starter, the top just pops up.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of that line of Transformers animated.
The Battle Bump.
I was gonna say they didn't call them Battle Chargers. They called them like Bumper Battlers.
Bumper Battlers.
Bumper Battle, yeah. Where I mean, literally, you pull them back and let them go, and the top pops up or something. And that's what happened with these. Only, no articulation. They had their own guns that you had to prop up on their shoulder in robot mode because they didn't have hands.
Yeah.
These are just sad toys in the sense of articulation because they have no articulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the play value here is you pull them back and let them go, and they pop up and roll a little bit farther, and that's good for about 3 or 4 tries. At which point you start aiming them at each other.
Exactly.
Pull them back and let them slam into each other, and that's fun for about a dozen times. And after that, what are they going to do? You throw them in the toy box where their stickers come off, and then they're worthless.
Yep. Now, the next one here is Deluxe Insecticons. I never knew about these.
Really? Well, they weren't in the cartoon.
Right, exactly. I never knew about these. You have Chop Shop, Barrage, Venom, and Ransack. Oh, so that's where Ransack's name came
There's
from.
Ransack's name, yeah.
No, well, I just finished reading about a week ago. I finished reading Exodus, and I'm like, why is there a character in here called Ransack? But anyway,
these were cool toys.
Okay, then you can talk about them because I have more to say about the regular Insecticons than I do the deluxe ones.
Well, the regular Insecticons were in the cartoon,
Right?
and the characters were memorable. I mean, these
Right.
and they're really cool toys because they're. They have
Show accuracy.
they're chrome,
Right.
and they have a really cool color scheme, and they have a matching color scheme. Whereas with the deluxe Insecticons, each one's different,
Right.
and you may or may not want, I don't know, a green cicada, or what do they call that? The one with the horn. It's a horn beetle. You may or may not want a horn beetle or a stag beetle. Yeah, and it's like I want to say that the grasshopper's name was Venom. I think that was Venom. I might be wrong. Anyway, but yeah, so it's like you compare the deluxe grasshopper to the regular grasshopper, and it's like, yeah, he's bigger, and he's got a little bit more complex transformation. But, the other guy, he looks just like his teammate, so clearly they're a team.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have done something neat with the Deluxe Insecticons that would have tied them all together as a group that may have increased their play value.
Yeah.
But, these guys are fragile.
They are
They are easy to break. They're really little, spindly little legs, and they will snap right off. But I mean, they're neat toys. They're fun to play with. More fun to transform maybe than the regular Insecticons because they have a more involved transformation
right.
for the most part. But again, they're a little hard to stand up. They're a little flimsy. They're based on an earlier Japanese toy line that I forget the name of. I think it had a cartoon with like 5 episodes in it.
I don't remember.
You wouldn't. You're not Japanese.
Arigato.
Arigato.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Ohayou gozaimasu. Yeah, that's right.
Now, the regular Insecticons,
Yes.
I believe I had...
Tell me how cool they are. How cool are they?
I'm trying to remember if I had all 3 of them or if I just had 2.
Every kid I know had all 3 of them.
I remember having Shrapnel and Bombshell. I don't remember having Kickback. Kickback was the grasshopper.
Yeah.
I remember having Shrapnel and Bombshell. I remember loving Bombshell the best out of the 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they are really cool. And again, in the cartoon, they were, a sub-faction at the time of the Decepticons. I mean, sure, everybody's going to follow Megatron, Galvatron, whatever, eventually. But when they were introduced, they were on their own at the time. And again, I thought that was really neat.
Right. No, I mean, they're memorable characters.
Yes.
They have, I forget, oh god, which one has the verbal tick?
The verbal tick, I think that was Shrapnel.
Okay, yeah. And
where he's like, we must get them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you got Bombshell with his cerebral shells.
Yeah.
I mean, that still survives today. So, at least up until TFA. Yeah, you had cerebral shells. These are just really fun toys. And again, you've got the chrome, simple transformations make it easy to play with. They have their team colors. They're visibly teammates.
Yes, exactly.
They're a lot of fun, and especially if you want to reenact scenes from the cartoon. Just great toys. And like I said, everyone that had Transformers that I remember had all 3 of these.
Yeah.
And I want to say they came in a box. Like nowadays, a toy that size would end up on a card with a bubble.
Yes.
But back then they were boxed.
All of even the mini cars, the jump starters, the battle chargers, the mini bots like Bumblebee, even Bumblebee, I believe came.
No. In Japan they came in boxes. In America they were on bubble cards.
Well, the cars might have been, but no. Bombshell had I remember Bombshell had a box.
Well, no, the Insecticons had boxes,
right.
But the mini bots.
Okay.
The mini bots all were on cards. The cassettes were all on cards.
Card backs, yeah.
Yeah. Now I want to say the Constructicons
were in a box.
Well, if you got it, as a set, they were in a box. You're right, as a set. Or individually, they were on card.
Yeah.
But it just seems odd that you'd have the battle charges, even the Insecticons, regular Insecticons were on in boxes. And it's like, these are not big toys. So,
yeah.
It's kind of surprising. But no, they had their own boxes.
Yeah. Now, moving on to ones that you really don't care for. The Stunticons, Dead End, Breakdown, Drag Strip, Wild Rider, and Motormaster.
Right. Now, I can see I don't know, I can kind of see the plot line here where they say, oh, if only we had cars.
Yeah.
The Decepticons would be able to masquerade as Autobots or something, maybe. I see the plot line. At the same time, do we really need more cars? And worse, do we really need more cars that have, such simple transformations that you'd mistake them for GoBots if you didn't know any better?
Well, now to be fair, all of the Transformers toy line was so much better than those, Kmart knockoffs, the GoBots. So Because that's really what GoBots are, is, the Kmart version of Transformers. Now,
Yeah, okay, sure, I'll go with that.
Motor Master was the equivalent to Optimus Prime as far as the Decepticons having a semi.
Oh God.
What?
Honestly, you set this toy next to Optimus Prime. I want to say Motor Master in full semi-truck mode is probably not as long as Optimus Prime's cab.
No, he's as long as his cab, but he's not as long as his
toy.
trailer. Right.
No,
Yeah.
not even the cab.
Really?
Like his legs pulled all the way back. Not even the cab. He's a little toy.
Wow.
He's small.
Yeah.
Surprisingly small.
No.
Like I said, when I first started playing with Motor Master, it's like, man, this is a tiny toy. He's little.
Now, what's really great about the Stunticons is they got a rebirth in animated.
Oh.
With the Stunticon job. And Motor Master is a Optimus Prime repaint, as he should be. We don't need none of that Retgar knockoff bullshit. And I've always loved the Stunticons. Menasor himself, I like the fact that Menasor uses a sword, but I never... Menasor wasn't a combiner, even in the animation, Menasor wasn't a combiner that I really, really had that much affliction for, but I always liked the Stunticons individually.
Yeah.
I always thought each of them were very, very cool. Especially when Dead End and Wild Rider run Rodimus, who is, having his burden hardest to bear, when they run him off the road. And the
not
child
even a good leader. He gets run off the road by Stunticons.
Shut up! And the child of Flint and Lady J has to save Rodimus.
I'm driving down the road, minding my own business. These GoBots knock me clear
Hey!
These guys here, they're no swindle, right? You know what freaked me out about these, the limbs, I want to say? They have their own little guns, but they also have these big dual cannons. Each one has dual cannons that fit in their tailpipe,
Right.
oddly enough.
That sounds so wrong.
It is wrong. Yeah, it's wrong. But then in combined mode, you don't see them.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be neat if you could have Menasor just bristling with weaponry.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. And he comes with all these guns. He should be able to do that. But it was a lost opportunity.
Now,
maybe a crazy Devi will come up with a mounting rack or something on his back, so you can put all these guns on him.
I assume you have the Stunticons in Menasor.
Yeah. I did it when I was little.
Right, but you have them now.
Well, when I first started collecting Transformers, he was one of the first sets that I got. I mean, I immediately went for like combiner sets and started with that.
Yeah. And then there was all that Power Core crap. But anyway, moving on to another great debate in Transformers fandom. Hasbro got it wrong. The toy company got it wrong. Rumble is blue or purple, and Frenzy is red.
As far as the cartoon goes, sure.
Right. And as far as the majority of the fandom believes, Rumble is purple and Frenzy is red.
Frenzy is blue.
No. But the toys, the actual cassettes, as you just said, Rumble is red and Frenzy is blue.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think that's silly and stupid because it doesn't match up with the animation. And I know the cassettes were made before the cartoon, I think. Why is it in this that Ratbat is shown as red in this image?
No, he's kind of... Well,
in this image, he is shown as red.
I'd say, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he should be more of a purple.
Yeah, he should be more of a purple.
Yeah.
I always like...
He's got ears.
I knew in the back of my mind that when the movie hit, you had the big battle between Blaster and Soundwave and Perceptor, where the cassettes all fought each other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool as hell. But after that, it's like Laserbeak and Buzzsaw in Season 3 just disappeared. I mean, every now and then in Season 3 he would bring Laserbeak out, but it was like Buzzsaw completely disappeared. You would have Rumble and Frenzy, Ravage, and Ratbat.
Right.
I love Ravage in the cartoon. The cassette of Ravage... The cassette forms are all very cool because they're all very different colors and they're all very... They're not garish, but they're all very vibrant. But Ravage as a cassette, nah, I don't like his... I don't like him as a G. He has no head. It's just neck.
It's just he's got this long neck that sticks out.
Yeah.
No, I always liked Ravage. I had a Ravage when I was young, and he was my favorite toy. I would carry him everywhere.
Yeah.
I thought he was awesome. Yeah, no, I really like the cassettes because they're pocket size. You can carry them around.
Right.
As long as you don't lose Laserbeak's head, you're in good shape.
Exactly. Same thing with Buzzsaw.
Yeah, repaints.
Now there are other cassettes, but we're not going to be talking about those here because again, we're just talking about the
87
86
cassettes. Yeah.
Yeah. There were the 87 cassettes, and then there were other ones. But again, those, at least for me, if it doesn't show up in the show, I have no attachment to it. If I can't see how the character interacts in the animation, I can't use my imagination to, reenact those stories with the toys.
Okay.
Soundwave, amazing toy. Soundwave was awesome. I'm still waiting and hoping, and although I know it'll never happen because no one in this day and age knows what a cassette deck is, I want a Masterpiece Soundwave with Masterpiece-sized cassettes. I know it'll never happen. I know it's wishful thinking. I know it'll never happen, but that's what I want. But I always loved Soundwave, even though I never actually had him on my own. And Soundwave himself, his metal toes. Those feet were awesome.
I like the fact that his weapons could be stowed away.
Batteries, yep.
Yeah, they look like batteries. You just shrink them down and then put them into his back where the battery pack was.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I had him as a kid. I thought he was really, really neat. But still, he was just the guy who held the cassettes. I was really just in love with my little cassettes when I was little.
Yeah. Moving on to the triple changers.
Yay!
Blitzwing, Astro Train, and Octane. Now, you said earlier that you think that the tank mode on Blitzwing hinders the jet mode. I think the opposite. I think the jet mode, it's just a tank folded to look like a jet. It's not like the tank mode is everything.
No, the jet mode looks like a jet. The tank mode looks like a tank with a jet cockpit sticking out of the front of it.
Well, that's true. But this was a unique way of using the air fins, the back. I don't know the aeronautical term for the fins, but the fins in robot mode become his feet, and I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, on the tail of the robot mode? Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting.
Well, they kind of like hold him up.
Yeah.
That's
well, otherwise you could try to stand him up without having those tail fins down.
Luck. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, because what he's standing on is his jet boosters. So yeah, that's not going to work. So you need those fins there to enact as feet.
All right. What's neat about this guy though is he has missiles.
Yes.
There are missile launchers in his wings that will fire missiles.
Yes.
And you don't see that with the rest of the triple changers.
Nope. Well, the rest of the at least one other triple changer didn't really need it. But what really makes me mad about the image that we're going off of here, and I wish I had this, is that
Purple Astro Train.
Astro Train in G1 was purple and white. He had some black on him, but he was purple and white. Here in this image, he's black and grayish white, which means he's more show accurate. And this is not the toy I had. I had the white one, the white on purple and black. And I've always loved Astro Train because as a kid, I had an affection for locomotives and shuttles, and I just always thought he was really cool. I still wish I had this one that's here in the image, though, because it looks so fucking cool.
He's like Emmett Brown's Back to the Future train, you know? Just like old steampunk train with a space shuttle. But no, I really liked that. Well, I don't want to say I really liked the character, but I was always excited when I saw Astro Train on the cartoon.
Yeah.
You know, and the toy does a really good job of differentiating between train and space shuttle and robot. I mean, the robot, to a certain extent, sure, he kind of looks like a space shuttle dumped on its front, you know, but
he does.
But he looks good. It's a nice robot mode.
The only problem I've ever had when I've owned Astro Train, because I've owned him a number of times over the years, is that I can never get his legs to stay in place, whereas I'll pull the legs out to where they're supposed to click in place and stay there.
Yeah.
Every Astro Train I've had, his legs have ended up just being stumps. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So, that's my only complaint about Astro Train. Other than that, I absolutely love him. They did do commemorative Astro Train where he's all black and all white. I like a black train for Astro Train, but I didn't like the black and white combo. I wish there was a little bit more purple in that. But no, G1 original Astro Train was always awesome for me. Now Octane, I liked in the series. Never had the toy, so you're gonna have to talk about Octane.
Well, I didn't have an Octane until much later.
Right.
And the crazy thing about Octane is that he's got a lot of chrome on him.
Yes.
So his wings are all chrome. In tanker mode, the whole ass end of the vehicle is a big piece that pops off. That's all chrome. So they're hard to find in good shape because that chrome scrapes. You know, it peels off.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he's got a really good airplane mode, fairly decent tanker truck mode, but neither one of them I don't think harms his robot mode. I mean, granted, his legs don't move very much, but I believe he's articulated with the arms.
Yes, he is. I think just by looking at the image, he is.
No, I really wanted him. Never got one, but he's a really cool toy.
Yes, he is.
Devastator.
Yes, Devastator.
Yeah, so this is an '85 toy, but he
still deserves to be talked about because
he's so great.
He was one mean sumbitch in the movie.
He was meaner in the original draft.
Yes, he was.
We probably shouldn't be talking about the movie original draft, but
no, we shouldn't.
Yeah, no, he was really cool.
Very, very awesome. Now, the Constructicons on their own, I love them individually, just like I love Devastator.
Sadly, I can't really say that from the cartoon point of view, but the toys themselves, I loved the toys. I love them as construction vehicles, maybe a little bit more than as robots. Each one had their own gun and an accessory on top of that. So, Scrapper, he came with, I want to say part of one of the forearms,
Yeah.
And it would literally mount on top of the vehicle mode. So you'd have a construction vehicle with a giant cannon mounted to the top of it. Long Haul, I think, had the chest piece would mount across the top. So you've got, a huge dump truck with wings. Yeah, it was just weird, completely weird, but amazing for a young kid to play with.
Yeah.
And the other thing that sets Devastator apart from the other combiners, from the 86 line at least, is that they weren't Scramble City parts. It wasn't a body, a torso with just a bunch of pieces that became arms and legs. I mean, they can't switch around. There's only one way to combine this particular figure.
Right. For me, my two favorites out of the six were always Scrapper and Scavenger. I liked Mixmaster to a certain extent, but the other ones, as far as the characters in the cartoon, I didn't really care for them. I like Hook in the cartoon simply because he mouths off to Soundwave in the movie.
See, I always like Hook and Mixmaster.
Yeah. Nobody would follow an uncharismatic bore like you. Hey, nobody calls Soundwave uncharismatic.
Uncharismatic.
Yeah, uncharismatic. Yeah, that's what it was.
You gotta love Frank Welker. Nobody calls Soundwave uncharismatic.
Yeah.
But no, Devastator was the original combiner in the animated series, and they added more as they went along.
Right.
And he was just so awesome. What really screwed me up as a kid, though, was like in the cartoon, he's green. The gift set, they're all green. They would then go on to repaint Devastator into yellow and orange, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Well, that was like 1991, 1992. Finally, this was years later. They repainted them in yellow, and then there was a KB Toys exclusive that was orange.
Yeah.
Those are really hard to find. I've got one that's missing an arm, and if I wanted to pay $30 for an arm, I'd have a complete one, but I don't. It's hard to find. But now going back to Crazy Devi, the best parts, the best combiner parts that they offer are for Devastator.
Yeah.
They offer different set of forearms, a head that you can turn his neck and his eyes light up. I believe they offer like a bigger gun and a bigger chest crest and the hips with actual forelegs.
Yeah.
So that he can walk and bend his knees.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of thing where it's like, wow, that would be really cool to have, but at the same time, one, it wouldn't be the original toy, and two, you'd be out $200.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's hard, but at the same time, it's like, wow, that would be cool.
Yep. Yeah, it would have been.
If I had an extra set of G1 Constructicons, I might splurge for it, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do that to my originals.
Yeah, no, you should never do anything to your originals. And finally, in the 86 Decepticon line, we have the Seekers and Scourge and Cyclonus and his armada. I don't understand why Starscream is in here. Starscream was the 80-45 line, I believe.
Well, I mean, he's Starscream. They knew who to sell.
Well, right.
They know who is going to sell, I should say. I mean, that's why they've got Bumblebee on here.
Yeah.
Bumblebee's an 84 toy. Why would they still put him on there? Well, because he's going to sell. Soundwave probably still sold.
Yeah.
Or else he wouldn't have been on there. But the neat thing is that the other jets, the other Seeker jets, right, had newly molded wings.
Newly molded wings, new colors.
Basically the same jet body, but different wings, different missiles.
Yeah.
They didn't have the missile launch. Well, I think Thrust had the missile launchers still.
Yeah.
But Dirge and Ramjet did not. They had different missile launchers. Well, they didn't launch anymore.
Yeah, they didn't launch anymore.
Yeah. Which, when I finally got one, I was really disappointed. Like, where are the missile launchers? What the hell? No, they just came with, like, little sticks on pegs.
Yeah, I absolutely love these three. Like, I'm not a Seeker fanboy like a lot of people are, but yeah.
Thorazine and his giant Seeker collection. I love his collection. It's awesome. But it's like
Thorazine and his army of knockoffs.
It's like, dude, that's a lot of Seekers. I mean, don't you have anything else? No. no more. Just Seekers. Wow, that's
Well, hey, if you go one way in a certain fandom and you going all in, hey, that's not a bad way to go.
yeah. No, there you go. Yeah, it's a healthy collection.
What I liked about Thrust, Dirge, and Ramjet,
Huh.
they were all different from Starscream, Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker, because they were all coneheads.
Okay.
And they were cool.
See, now I never liked the cone head.
I
But,
did.
I mean I can't get over the whole cone head thing. Now I'm looking at the catalog here. It doesn't look like they have them in cone head mode. Is that the heads bend back? I mean, the cones bend back just like they did with the original Seekers. You don't have to portray them as cone heads.
No, you don't. But I mean, if you, again, me with my show accuracy,
Sure, why not? Yeah. Yeah. But,
that was the ideal thing. Shut up.
I had a Thrust when I was little. That was the only one I had. The only Seeker that I had was Thrust. But I liked him because he had the VTOL fans on the wings.
Right. Yeah, the VTOLs. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, he's neat. I liked him. The two that I didn't like was Scourge and Cyclonus. I mean,
I like later releases of Scourge and Cyclonus, but the
Target
G1
Master release or
no, the not Universe Classics, the new ones today.
Well, granted, yeah, there's nostalgia there. I mean, you can have a flying bathtub and get away with it now because it's nostalgia. But back then, what was he? Hovercraft, bathtub? I'm not sure what the heck that is. Surfboard? Is he supposed to stand on himself and fly like Rekgar? I mean, I don't get it. I just don't see that as a jet. And as a Transformer, he's really a letdown because he's like a shell former.
Yeah.
He's a robot that wraps a shell around himself, and that shell becomes a vehicle.
Yeah.
Cyclonus has a really cool vehicle mode. But I never liked his robot mode because he's got this giant crown on his head.
Yeah. I have to correct myself because I'm looking on TF Wiki here. The G1 Dirge does not have a cone head. He has a box head. It's the Generations one, the most recent redeco that has the show accurate cone head. But no, the G1 toy is not a cone head. It was just a cone head in the cartoon.
Oh, yeah. Huzzah!
Yeah. Huzzah!
Huzzah! Yeah. So it's sad, but the more I look back on this podcast, the more it sounds like I say that all the movie toys should be shot because they're cheap.
No. Stop right there. No.
Yeah.
TFTM movie toys for their time, not looking back on them, but for their time, for the most part, they were pretty cool. There are some that just plain suck, I will agree. But these are nowhere near the complete suckage of Bayformers.
Well, apples and oranges right there. Let's compare some of these toys, okay, to the G.I. Joe toys that were coming out at the time. Now,
I have no knowledge of the G.I. Joe toys at that time.
Well, I mean, they're military vehicles. You can't go wrong, right? But with these military vehicles, a lot of the details were in the molded into the toy. They weren't stickers. The toys were molded in more than 2 colors, so that you have, I don't want to say better looking toy, basically, because it's not just red and green plastic put together. Christmas is prime, or something.
Right, Christmas is prime.
He's red and green. How'd that happen? Yeah, but no, I mean, a lot of these toys are just not very well designed. Cheap plastic. It gets worse in '87, to be honest. Designs get worse. Plastic gets worse. Just not very good toys. Doesn't hold the candle to what you'd find in 84 and 85. 85 is literally like the pinnacle of Transformers, design and implementation. Again, Predaking is the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
But, a lot of these toys are just crap. Now, did I want a Trypticon? Heck yeah, I'll take a Trypticon. I'll still take a Trypticon over most of this stuff. Did I, want a Metroplex? Yeah, I wanted the Metroplex, and but the Metroplex, I had Chrome, and he was 3 figures, and he had a helipad.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and his elbows bent, but no, they don't. They don't. He doesn't bend at all. Yeah, he had decent articulation. You could rotate at the waist and at the shoulders.
Right.
And he had lots of guns. He had hidden guns, pop-out guns, all sorts of stuff on him. But, did Rodimus Prime have pop-out hidden guns? Well, not so much. Not really. Did Cup, who's not even a car, have pop-out guns? Well, not really. He barely had a pop-out head. It was really shameful. I don't know. A lot of these toys were just kind of crap. I want to say, due to the sheer number of combiner limbs, the combiner limbs probably made up a good 40% of the 86 line. And like I said before, they're barely more than GoBots with extra accessories. I mean, they're just, if they weren't so compelling in the cartoon, I don't think they wouldn't be good toys because they wouldn't have nearly as good play value.
Wow. I do not believe that.
What?
Trypticon and Scorponok are essentially repaints of each other, with the exception that instead of Scorponok having a Tyranno mode, he has a Scorpion mode and an actual robot mode. But if you look at the city modes of Trypticon and Scorponok, they're nearly identical. Because I'm looking at the 87.
I was going to say, first of all, we're talking about an 87 toy here.
I know.
And secondly, I can't get it to come up.
You can't get it to come up.
I can't get it. Yeah, I'm having a little trouble getting it up,
oh, God, you did not have to say that.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, okay. I think I know why, because my external drive it went down on me. Oh, what the hell, man?
What the hell are horror? Ape-Face and... Oh, okay, Ape-Face and Snapdragon. Okay.
We're looking at the 87 line.
I know. Well, I couldn't help it, because you started mentioning that the 87 line was much worse than the 86 line. So I couldn't help it, because
Look at the horror cons. Look at the cheap plastic.
I know.
Look at this. These are... I mean, honestly, they're horrible toys.
Okay, but... I know this episode is mainly for the TFTM 86 line, but just looking at the 87 line, kind of to close this out.
Yeah.
Six Shot is awesome.
Oh, he is awesome. Yeah. Six Shot is an awesome toy because he, arguably some of his modes are kind of iffy, but he's got 6 of them. And if you look at his toy mode, that you can't tell here, there's no comparison. He is as tall as Metroplex.
Yeah.
And maybe 2/3 as wide. He's not as bulky, but he's got a lot of mass to him, and he's a fun toy to play with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, here we go. Did it come up? Yeah, it did. Here it is. Okay. All right. So where's my? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, Trypticon. No, honestly, you'd have to. You got to play with a Trypticon. Trypticon is a really cool toy. He's bigger than Metroplex. Or not Metroplex. He's bigger than a Trypticon.
Scorponok, you mean?
Who am I talking about?
You said Trypticon.
All right. Scorponok is bigger than Trypticon.
Right, but
That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm saying is look at Scorponok's city mode.
Right.
Look at Trypticon's city mode. They're almost extremely identical. They're not exactly identical.
No.
But they...
Well, where I want to differ here is with Scorponok. They look similar, Scorponok and Trypticon, because they're symmetrical.
Right.
But the side pieces that come off of Trypticon on the sides of the city mode, those they're just there for show. They don't actually do anything. Whereas the side pieces, the side ramps, those are ramps that come off the side of Scorponok. You can
Right.
drive cars up and down them.
Right.
So, I mean, he's a little more functional.
Well, yeah.
And he's got bays that you can drive into.
Yep.
Kind of like Metroplex. So,
Yeah.
no, I mean, arguably between the two toys, Scorponok is a better base. And, you know, he's better robot mode. I mean, he's not just a dinosaur. He's got arms and legs, and he's got, you know,
Right.
pinchers that you can pinch on, and he's cool, and he's a headmaster. So there's that. But on the other hand, Trypticon can walk. He lights up. And Scorponok has no electronics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think. Is that true? Does he move those late? No, he doesn't. I don't think he does. I own one. I don't think I ever turned him on. I've turned on Trypticon. I've watched him walk. It's cool. It's a really neat effect, you know.
Yeah, Trypticon does walk.
Yeah, I don't think Scorponok does. I don't think he has any electronics.
What other ones? Since we've gone into it, what other ones in the 87 line do you think are worse than the 86 line?
Well, like look at the Duocons. What the hell is that? Honestly, that's not even a robot mode. That's two vehicles stacked on top of each other with a head.
Yeah,
that is crap. I didn't like the whole headmaster gimmick.
I always liked that.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Target Master gimmick.
I like the Target Master.
It's the same toy all over again with a different gun. Where's the fun in that? I don't know. Punch counter punch.
Yeah, that
honestly.
I wish it was done better.
There's no way to do this better. This is just crap. I don't know. Even the combiners, like the Horicons.
Yeah, the Horicons are crap. I will agree to that.
The Technobots. Take a good look at the Technobots.
I know.
I mean, I don't want to complain too loudly about the Technobots because I like them. Again, there's Scramble City combiners, and if you dig that gimmick, then you can't go wrong with that, right? I mean, I wish they would have made 2 or 3 more Scramble City type combiners, just because I like that gimmick. Are they good toys? That's up for debate, you know. But you build a cartoon around them and you give them good personalities and an interesting story, and the kids are going to buy them so that they can reenact those stories. I mean, that's the play value. That's where the fun is. But 25, 30 years later, when I have got a what's the drill's name? Nose cone on my desk.
Yeah.
And I literally have a nose cone here on my desk, and he's standing, next to some of my classics toys. He doesn't hold up very well.
No. See, a lot of the toys, you had to really use your imagination. Whereas, watching the cartoon, you could get into it because, even though everyone says that G1 doesn't have strict continuity, which it doesn't, and even though everyone really, even I bashed, a lot of the episodes, I still love watching the G1 episodes for what they are.
Yeah.
And,
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are. When you turn your brain off and not think about it. Not like, why is Perceptor shooting something out of his microscope?
Right. We gotta take Derek Wyatt's advice on this one, right?
Exactly.
Don't think too much into it.
Exactly. What I find extremely funny about Scorponok, at least according to the TF Wiki, you are correct. I don't think he has the electronics because it doesn't say on here that he.
They'll usually say motorized or something.
Yeah. Well, right. I don't see that it's saying that he is motorized or not. But the last line on here says, also, he has a die-cast ass.
What?
That's what it says on the wiki.
Oh, on the wiki. Okay. Well, yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah. But
It's a lost art.
Yeah, diecast construction is a lost art.
Yeah.
I need to find that clip again. Overall, the 86 line, since we've been going over it for nearly 2 hours now, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, however long it's been.
Something like that, yeah.
Just talking about these, I really want a lot of these toys now. I mean, looking back at Rodimus and remember playing with Rodimus on vacations and stuff like that, and looking back at, the Galvatron, even though I prefer the e-hobby version, I just really want a lot of these G1 toys again now. Just talking about it, just bringing up the nostalgia of what they were and what they are.
Yeah.
Well,
what's funny is that there's still some that I don't have, and I kind of look at them and go, wow, kind of wish I had one of those. Like a Snapdragon. I don't have a Snapdragon.
Yeah, to the eBay.
To the eBay. Well, the sad thing is, if I wanted to go buy a Snapdragon right now, he would cost me $150.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah. If I wanted a Target Master Cyclonus, I'd be paying $150 for him.
Yeah. I've told this story before, and I will say it again, because it's probably been a while since I've told this, but in 2008, when I was still working for the company that I worked for, and I had buku amounts of money and no real bills to speak of except for cable and cell phone or whatever else.
Yeah.
I had a lot of money coming in, and I felt nostalgia for my childhood, and I went on eBay, and for Blaster, Soundwave, G1 Blaster, Soundwave, Galvatron, even though it was the wrong one at the time, and G1 Optimus, 84 Optimus. In total, I spent $1,250 on those four figures, $300 each for Soundwave, Blaster, and Galvatron. And it wasn't even the right friggin' Galvatron. I later spent like $65 to get the e-hobby version. It's Transformers and the G1 and the vintage stuff. The market is so awful because
it's an expensive hobby.
Look at the single most expensive Transformer in Generation 1. Fort Max.
Yeah.
You can't buy a Fort Max under $500. You probably can't buy a complete Fort Max under $1,000.
Oh, probably not. I actually bought my Fort Max for $450, and he's missing one of the big guns.
Right. Oh, okay, but I mean, a lot of them out there are, say $800, and they're missing a lot of, just missing one item. They're missing a lot of things, and what they're saying is, oh, hey, look, it's Fort Max, and he's $800 because it's Fort Max. I mean, it's kind of like,
right.
You're not supposed to talk about Fort Max. Whatever the Fight Club saying is,
Yeah. First club of Fort Max is you don't talk about Fort Max.
Right.
Or first rule of Fort Max.
First rule of Fort Max is you don't talk about. Wow, you really
first club of Fight Max is you don't fight Max Club.
So I think, do you have any other closing thoughts? Because if not, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, come back, close the show, and then that'll be it. Because this has been a very long one.
Yeah, this has been going on for a while. Wow.
Any closing thoughts?
Rodimus was a horrible toy as well as a horrible leader.
The GeekCast Radio Network does not approve of Peacock Court Michael's opinion on Rodimus Prime G1.
Springer's awesome!
Fuck you. We're going to commercial. We'll be back after this.
Hey, it's David Kay, voice of Beast Wars Megatron and TFA Optimus. You're listening to the GeekCast Radio Network.
Soundwave, jam that transmission! Rumble Frenzy, Ravage, Rat-Bat, Eject, Operation Interference.
No, there will be no Operation Interference. I am TFG1 Mike, and you should be listening to my very first podcast, the TFG1 Podcast. 24 episodes covering the entire U.S. run of the 1984 Transformers cartoon. I also have a few supplemental episodes and an interview with Stan Bush. I bring in guest hosts who will be full-time co-hosts in Steve Megatron and fan of the show, now co-host Pecan Court Michael. So check out the TFG1 podcast. You can find it on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Transform and roll out. 2012 marks the 30th anniversary for Masters of the Universe. We here at the GCRN are celebrating with a brand new series of podcasts. The Powers of Grayskull series will cover every episode of every MOTU cartoon. Yes, even that crappy New Adventure stuff. Join Optimus Solo and TFG1 Mike as they tell tales of Eternia, discover the myths of Etheria, become masters in space, and finally masters of Grayskull. You can find the Pogs podcasts in iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Good journey!
You can now hear the GeekCast Radio Network while on the go with Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher is a free-use and talk mobile app available for your smartphone. And when you download Stitcher to hear GeekCast Radio, you'll have a chance to win money. Downloading is quick and easy. Just find Stitcher in the App Store. During registration, hit the promo code box and enter GeekCast Radio, all one word, to get automatically entered to win $100. The latest episodes of the shows will be waiting for you in your favorites. You'll get access to lots of other amazing shows too. Always available to you on demand, no syncing. It's Stitcher Smart Radio. Don't forget to enter promo code GeekCast Radio when you register.
Yeah, I think I'm done. I won't do this anymore.
Alright. So there you have it, folks. That is our huge 1986/87/85, whatever, because we did talk about a few of the 85 and 87 toys for Transformers Generation 1. Overall, it's been a fun night, and it's going to be a fun night of editing.
That's just 2.5 hours to edit through. I didn't mean to be so long-winded. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fun. I think it's going to give people a lot to listen to, especially those that have long commutes or long road trips or that kind of thing. And it's not often that we do. I think in ToyCast's history, this might be the second longest episode we've ever done. I think the longest one was when Proto Man, myself, and Optimus Scourge did the Revenge of the Fallen in-depth breakdown discussion thing way back in 2009.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's been an overall really, really great episode. So thank you for joining us here on ToyCast. There are several ways to get in contact with us to leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. You can comment on each episode post. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Please do this. You can follow us on Twitter. The show name there is TF ToyCast. Mine is TFG1 Mike. What is your Twitter?
Pecan CT Michael.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast or Radio Network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving a message for and your name, 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of ToyCast. I wish you'll join us next time where we'll be talking about the toys of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For now,
I was afraid you were going to say Transformers 87. It's like, oh, God, you're going to beat this dead horse again.
Oh, no. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with
Michael Wilson.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.